Chapter 1619. Yun Jian kicked Zhou Duanjing to the ground. Although Zhou Duanjing was kneeling on the ground, he did not feel any pain. He turned around and glared at Yun Jian. Just then, the people who were with Zhou Duanjing quickly ran over and helped him up. After being kicked down by a girl, Zhou Duanjing naturally could not face it head-on. However, Zhou Duanjing only clenched his fists and said through gritted teeth, "Let's go." After standing up awkwardly, Zhou Duanjing turned his head and glared at Yun Jian. He said loudly, "Just you wait." Then, Zhou Duanjing and the rest left the scene as fast as they could. "Yun Jian, are you okay?" What happened just now only took a few breaths. When Su Mei and Su Wenming ran over, Zhou Duanjing had already left with his men. "I'm fine." Yun Jian retracted her gaze. Her dark eyes darkened as she turned around and went back to her room. At night, Yun Jian lay on the top bunk bed in her room and stared at the ceiling. There were only two beds in the room, the top bunk and the bottom bunk. The bottom bunk was occupied by Su Mei and Nan Linlin. "This is the place. Don't think of yourself as a pampered lady here. Since you're here, we'll treat you the same. No one will be treated differently. Your parents have told me that I won't give you any special privileges. So, you'll have to deal with your relationships well and work hard. Your parents want you to have the ability to protect yourself. You can train here. Also, if it's the elimination round, you can stay here as long as you can. Don't force yourself." At around 7:49 p.m. Chief Feng's voice came from Yun Jian's room. "Okay, Chief Feng. I understand. Thank you." After Officer Feng's voice fell, a light but obedient female voice came from the gate. This woman's voice sounded soft, but it was peaceful. "Okay, go in." After he finished speaking, Chief Feng turned around and left. Then, Yun Jian heard the door being pushed open. 2 seconds later, a gentle voice was heard. Hello everyone. My name is Luo Berry." There was no reply after he finished speaking. The girl who called herself Luo Berry paused. She was a little embarrassed, but she didn't back down. "Hello everyone. I was sent here at the last minute. I guess you could say that I got in through the back door. But I'm not here to snatch anyone's spot. My parents thought that I was a little weak, so they sent me here, hoping that I could improve a little here." The girl who called herself Luo Berry was about 1.6 meters tall. She was very slim, but she looked a little weak. She was the type that people would want to protect. She looked like a 14-year-old girl, but in fact, she was 2 years older than Yun Jian. She was already 18 this year. "Hello, my name is Su Mei. My nickname is Moldy. You can call me Sister Moldy." Hearing Luo Mei's words, Su Mei immediately got up from the bed and extended her hand to greet Luo Mei. When Luo Berry heard Su Mei talking to her, she was a little excited. She quickly reached out and held Su Mei's hand. "Hello. Hee. Yun Jian." Yun Jian didn't get up from the bed. She was still lying on the bed, staring at the ceiling as she spoke to Luo Berry. From the conversation between Luo Berry and Chief Feng at the door, she could tell that Luo Berry was the daughter of a rich family. She was here purely to train her skills. Moreover, Luo Berry admitted that she got in through the back door as soon as she entered. Her tone was a little tactful, and she had the elegant demeanor of a rich family's daughter. Yun Jian had a good impression of her, so she introduced herself. "Yun Jian, what a nice name, hee." Luo Berry smiled at Yun Jian, then stuck her tongue out mischievously. Chapter 1620. Nan Linlin's roar was very loud. The room's soundproofing was not very good. Nan Linlin's roar could even be heard from the room next door. Nan Linlin's roar scared Luo Mei. Luo Mei took a step back in fright. She saw Nan Linlin glaring at her fiercely and roaring. "Why are you yelling? You think you're so great just because you got in through the back door? You're making it sound like no one knows how to get in through the back door. Be careful, or I'll ask my dad to kick you out." Nan Linlin threatened her right away. Luo Mei was really scared. Nan Linlin also got in through the back door, but her purpose was different from Luo Mei's. Nan Linlin came for her boyfriend. Her boyfriend wanted to enter the hunting grounds, but he refused to come in himself. Thus, Nan Linlin had to help her boyfriend check out the situation here. Who asked her to love her boyfriend so much? After being yelled at by Nan Linlin, Luo Mei was stunned. "Ignore her. Come here. Su-mei glared at Nan Linlin and pulled Luo Mei to sit on her lower bunk bed. Yin Jian slept on Su-mei's upper bunk. Now there was only one upper bunk left in the room. It was right above Nan Linlin's bed. Nan Linlin was not young anymore. She was already 21 or 22 years old. She did not know how to give in to Luo Mei. Thank you, Sister Unlucky. Luo Mei was a little embarrassed to call Su-mei Sister Unlucky. However, seeing Su-mei's nonchalant expression, she did not back down. Haha, don't be afraid. Sister Unlucky will protect you here. Su-mei also liked Luo Mei, so she could not help but say this. Okay. Luo Mei's innocent face immediately blushed, and she nodded vigorously at Su-mei. Then, Luo Mei poked her head out from the lower bunk and looked at Yin Jian's upper bunk bed. She met Yin Jian's eyes and nodded slightly at Yin Jian. Nan Linlin snorted. Then, she turned around and ignored Yin Jian and the others. She continued to call them dear, and continued to talk about her phone call. Wow, so you're all here for the Hunting Academy's quota? I feel that you're all so powerful. My parents think that I'm too weak, so they let me come here. Luo Mei looked at Su-mei and then at Yin Jian, asking with widened eyes. We're not as powerful as you think. Su scratched her head embarrassedly. To me you're all powerful. Mei clapped her hands of the world naively. Let's sleep. We'll wake up at 5 tomorrow. Yin Jian said after listening to Luo Mei and Su-mei talk for a while. Okay. Barry nodded and changed into her pajamas. It was already 8 at night. Luo Mei turned Mei suddenly. Luo turned Mei was unlucky suddenly. Mei's, Mei are. Luo is Luo. Is was, comma, at. Like sleeping. I'm used to it, Yin Jian replied. Alright. Luo Barry nodded slightly. Then she folded her clothes, got onto the top bunk, and went to sleep. The night was as still as water. It was 2:51 in the morning. It was almost 3 o'clock in the morning, the time when people slept the best and entered the deep sleep stage. Woo! 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 Suddenly the alarm went off. A familiar voice came from the speakers in every room. Everyone who heard the sound, please change your clothes within 5 minutes and gather at the door. If you don't change your clothes and gather at the door within 5 minutes, you'll be disqualified from the selection. Outside the door, Officer Fong was holding a loudspeaker. His voice was transmitted to every room. Basically, everyone would change into their pajamas before sleeping. There was no doubt about it, unless one was extremely lazy. Officer Fong looked at his watch. He estimated that Yin Jian would come out in 30 to 40 seconds. Officer Fong lowered his head to look at his watch. The moment he looked up, he saw Yin Jian's petite figure rushing towards him. The watch moved by 7 seconds, and Yin Jian was already standing in front of him. Some people were still sleepy from his surprise attack. What about Yin Jian? She went from the dormitory to the gate in 7 seconds? Didn't she change her clothes before sleeping? Was she so alert? Even the advanced special forces couldn't achieve her speed. Chapter 1621. Officer Fong was once again shocked by Yin Jian. However, he saw Yin Jian standing in front of him, in a neat military posture. She did not look like someone who had just woken up from a dream. In response, Officer Fong could only swallow hard. He opened his mouth but no words came out. It was past 2 in the morning, and it was only a few minutes away from 3 in the morning. This was the time when a person was sleeping soundly. At this moment, the alarm suddenly sounded. Everyone was still in a daze, especially since it was the first time they had come to the selection field. However, Officer Fong had said that if they could not leave their dormitory and reach the gate within 5 minutes, they would be disqualified. At this moment, all the dormitories were agitated. One by one, they tried their best to put on their clothes. But even so, people would feel sleepy when they just woke up. Therefore, the first few men who ran out of the room only came out after about 3 to 4 minutes. They were all trained special forces, but they didn't expect Officer Fong to do such a thing. After all, this was something that had never happened before. Therefore, those who came out in about 3 minutes were already the fastest to react. They cursed in their hearts as they ran. What was going on? Why did he suddenly wake everyone up in the middle of the night? Luo Berry had already rushed out as fast as she could, but she was still a step too late. She took a little over 5 minutes. When she stood there, Luo Berry was already out of breath. Nan Linlin was not in a hurry at all. Although she did not put on makeup and come out, she still took about 10 minutes to gather at the gate. Officer Fong saw that everyone had already rushed out as fast as they could. His face darkened, and he immediately relaxed his brows. Today is the first emergency gathering. Your performance is not bad, but it's not enough. In the future, the alarm will be sounded at any time and place. At that time, no matter what you are doing, you must put down the things in your hands, put on our military uniforms, and gather at the gate. Do you understand? Officer Fong said as he walked. Understood. Everyone replied loudly. All right, if you understand, go back to sleep. Today is the first day, so I won't punish anyone. But from now on, if there's an emergency gathering and you don't arrive at the gathering point within the stipulated time, you'll be disqualified and you'll have to pack up and leave. We don't accept idlers here. At this point, Officer Fong glared at Nan Linlin. Nan Linlin felt a little guilty after being glared at by Chief Fong. However, Nan Linlin suddenly glared back at Chief Fong and said confidently, Why are you looking at me? Nan Linlin, if you don't come out in time again, pack your luggage and go home. Chief Fong glanced at Nan Linlin. After being scolded, Nan Linlin rolled her eyes as she turned around and walked towards the dormitory. Are you crazy? Waking me up in the middle of the night. I'm already giving you face by coming out. Chief Fong naturally heard Nan Linlin's complaint, but he ignored it. Instead, he called out to Yun Jian. Yun Jian, wait a minute. Yun Jian was about to turn back to the dormitory, but when she heard Chief Fong's call, she stopped in her tracks and turned around. Seeing that Yun Jian was stopped, Zhou Duanjing and the others stopped in their tracks again. Perhaps it was because Yun Jian was quite outstanding during the day. Many people stopped in their tracks and looked over. Chief Fong asked her, Yun Jian, have you had any similar training before? No. Yun Jian denied it without hesitation. Seeing that Yun Jian's sincere gaze did not seem to be lying, Chief Fong lowered his eyes and said, All right, I saw you rush from the dormitory to the gate in 7 seconds. Normal people can't do that, so I was a little surprised. It seems that you're very alert when you're sleeping. As soon as Chief Fong finished speaking, Zhou Duanjing's silly voice was heard. Zhou Duanjing and the others were dumbfounded. Chapter 1622. Zhou Duanjing and the others stayed behind to listen to what Chief Fong was going to say to Yun Jian. Why was he being so secretive? Was he going to criticize Yun Jian? However, Zhou Duanjing and the others didn't expect that Chief Fong would say that Yun Jian only took 7 seconds to run out of the dormitory. Is this real? Why not? Do you think you're the only ones who are capable, but Yun Jian isn't? Hearing Zhou Duanjing's words, Sume was displeased. She immediately spoke to Zhou Duanjing in an unpleasant tone. Especially in front of Chief Fong, Sume was even more rude to Zhou Duanjing and the others. Zhou Duanjing swallowed his saliva. Just as he was about to reply, Chief Fong said, Yun Jian did run from the dormitory to the gate in 7 seconds. I won't talk nonsense about this. There was no need for Chief Fong to spout nonsense on Yun Jian's behalf. Zhou Duanjing was very displeased. Coincidentally, in front of Chief Fong, Zhou Duanjing thought of a way to pick on Yun Jian. He looked at Yun Jian and asked in front of Chief Fong, Then you don't change before going to bed? Is it so that you can look beautiful even when you sleep? Or is there another reason? Zhou Duanjing asked this purely to make things difficult for Yun Jian. After all, Yun Jian stood out too much. This made Zhou Duanjing very displeased. That's right. Yun Jian, why don't you change at night? Unexpectedly, Chief Fong was also interested in this matter. He turned to look at Yun Jian, narrowed his eyes, and asked Yun Jian with the same tone of interest. Chief Fong didn't want to know why Yun Jian didn't change at night. Instead, he wanted to know the reason why Yun Jian didn't change. As expected, Yun Jian didn't disappoint Chief Fong. She narrowed her eyes. Seeing that Chief Fong was sizing her up, her red lips curled up slightly. In the next second, she said calmly, Intentional accident, unintentional accident, can happen at any time. She gave a 12-word answer. Anyone who learned Chinese would know the meaning of these 12 words. Anyone who was smart would know that Yunjian was referring to accidents that could happen at any time. As for her, she had to be vigilant at all times. This way she wouldn't get into an accident. Chief Fang, Zhou Duanjing, and the others were once again shocked by Yunjian's words. Yunjian's performance was too outstanding. Her words and actions were awe-inspiring. However, every word that he said was very reasonable. However, before Chief Fang, Zhou Duanjing and the others could continue to be stunned, a malicious voice to say, "Yunjian, are you crazy? Your bag's to the middle of the road. You to make I duan don't be to make it disgusting to. It's to speak." At this moment, Nan Linlin was grabbing Yunjian's bag and walking over. As she walked, she unzipped Yunjian's bag very rudely and threw Yunjian's bag on the ground. Nan Linlin's action was completely intentional. It was as if she was punishing Yunjian for tripping over her bag and causing her to fall just now. However, when Nan Linlin unzipped the bag and threw it on the ground, the contents of the bag also scattered. There were all kinds of butterfly knives, as well as various blades and small knives hidden in the bag. There were more than 20 butterfly knives, all of which were collected by Mu Ying for many years. Later, she gave them to Yunjian. Everyone was shocked by the knives in Yunjian's bag. However, what was even more shocking was the wooden box that rolled down in front of them. The box was made of sandalwood. It looked very new, but it also had an ancient charm. Officer Fang was dumbfounded when he saw the box. He exclaimed on the spot. He exclaimed, Isn't this the legendary sandalwood box that all the international bigwigs fought over, but to no avail? It ended up in the hands of Slaying God, the #1 international secret agent. Chapter 1623. Nan Linlin's heart skipped a beat as she opened Yunjian's bag to reveal the contents. She was shocked by Officer Fang's frantic reaction when he saw the sandalwood box falling out of the bag. When everyone present heard what Officer Fang said, they were all shocked without exception. Sandalwood box? The sandalwood box was a mysterious box. Since its appearance, countless international businessmen, politicians, and bosses had been fighting for it. However, the legendary sandalwood box had fallen into the hands of Slaying God, the #1 international secret agent. When the incident broke out, someone even released the picture of the sandalwood box being excavated from the ancient tomb. It even made the headlines of international newspapers. There were even well-known authoritative figures who released the news that the sandalwood box had been taken away by Slaying God, the #1 international secret agent. As for whether this was true, no one knew until now. Therefore, Officer Fang, who had seen the picture of the sandalwood box in the international newspaper headlines, recognized the outstanding box at first glance. He was shocked when he looked at the box in front of him. What's a sandalwood box? Nan Linlin was shocked when she saw the frenzied look on everyone's faces. She suppressed her shock and asked, "The sandalwood box is an antique. It was priceless, and its value could not be measured by money. Moreover, it's rumored that the sandalwood box has been taken away by Slaying God, the #1 international secret agent." A man next to her saw that Nan Linlin didn't understand, so he explained, Priceless. This stupid box." Nan Linlin was dumbfounded as she stared at the sandalwood box that rolled out of Yunjian's bag in disbelief. Don't look at the box. If it's really a sandalwood box, its value can't be measured with money. It's not something that can be bought with just a few billion. Someone added after Nan Linlin's question. A few billion? It's not enough to buy it. Nan Linlin was completely dumbfounded. Nan Linlin's family was quite rich. That was the reason why she had developed such an arrogant and despotic personality. Even so, a few billion was an astronomical figure to Nan Linlin's family. What was more, a few billion was not enough to buy this box. It's a high-end imitation. It's not real. Just as everyone present turned to look at Yunjian and waited for her explanation, Yunjian's words suddenly spread and reached everyone's ears. High-end textiles? Officer Fang was shocked. Yes. On the other side, Yunjian had already picked up the sandalwood box from the ground and quickly put it into her school bag. Then, she lied without blushing or skipping a beat. The sandalwood box was real. Ever since she returned from Yulong mainland and regained part of her memory, Yunjian had been carrying the sandalwood box with her at all times. No one questioned Yunjian's explanation. That's right, how could a real sandalwood box appear here? What about these sabers? Chief Fong asked as he pointed at the various butterfly knives that were spilled out of Yunjian's bag. My friend gave it to me. Yunjian calmly picked up the bag and slung it over her shoulder. Her calm demeanor and superb lying skills had deceived everyone present, especially Zhou Duanjing and his group. They heaved a huge sigh of relief. Zhou Duanjing and his group were scared out of their wits by Yunjian's behavior just now. Only now did their expressions return to normal. Yunjian picked up the items and slung her school bag over her shoulder before walking towards the dormitory. Just as she reached Nan Linlin's side, she said to Nan Linlin without hiding anything, "You should be glad that you're in the selection area. Otherwise, I'll stab you with as many sabers as they fall out of my bag." Once Yunjian said that, everyone present was stunned. She did not hide the meaning of her words at all. This time, not only was Zhou Duanjing, who was hostile to Yunjian, stunned, Nan Linlin was so shocked that she exclaimed to Yunjian, "How dare you? Let's see if I dare." As soon as Yunjian finished speaking, she flipped her hand, and a butterfly knife appeared in her hand. Then, she swung the butterfly knife in front of Nan Linlin. A large chunk of Nan Linlin's hair was immediately shaved off. However, Yunjian's knife skills were precise. Apart from that chunk of hair, the tip of the knife did not touch Nan Linlin's clothes at all. By the time everyone reacted, the butterfly knife in Yunjian's hand had disappeared without a trace. Seeing this, everyone's expression changed. Chapter 1624. Before this, Yunjian had never shown her skills in front of everyone. However, she had shocked everyone with just a few moves. The moment she saw Yunjian's amazing skills, Luo Mei exclaimed, "She's so powerful." Luo Mei came in through the back door. She was here purely to train her skills, and not to compete for a spot in the hunting school. Therefore, the people around her did not pay much attention to Luo Mei. Meanwhile, Nan Linlin, who was shocked by Yunjian's swift swordsmanship, was shocked when she saw Yunjian cut off the hair on the side of her shoulder. When she came to her senses, her face was so pale that she could not even speak. It was too scary. Yunjian gave her the feeling that she was a demon from hell. Like Luo Mei, Nan Linlin came in through the back door and did not have any skills. At first, she thought that Yunjian was just like her, and did not have any skills because of her young age. However, after seeing Yunjian's terrifying swordsmanship, Nan Linlin was completely shocked. Even Zhou Duanjing and the others who were standing far away were shocked by Yunjian's actions. She was just a teenage girl. However, from Yunjian's skills, they could tell that Yunjian's skills were, "Ahem, go back to sleep." Officer Fong's urging voice rang out before anyone could think too much about it. Officer Fong was especially shocked. Fortunately, before Yunjian entered the selection field, Yu Xiaoluo had told him that Yunjian was a good seedling. Officer Fong was still doubtful before, but now it seemed that it was true. It was late at night. It was already 3 o'clock in the morning. The time to wake up was 5 o'clock. If they went back to sleep now, they could rest for another 2 hours. Everyone did not think too much about it, and went back to their dorms to rest. Yunjian only slept for an hour. She woke up at 4 o'clock for a morning jog. When it was around 5 o'clock, the morning bell rang. Officer Fong was standing in the open space waiting for everyone when he saw a small figure walking towards him. The moment he saw Yunjian, Officer Fong was stunned. Then he looked at Yunjian and asked, "Why are you up so early for a morning run?" "Yes," Yunjian replied briefly. Although Officer Fong was slightly shocked, he still waved his hand at Yunjian and said, "All right, return to the team." Normally, which young girl at Yunjian's age wasn't thinking about love or fantasize about their other half? What about Yunjian? She, on the other hand, did not take the usual path. Every day, she only thought about how to train herself and how to improve her strength. In less than 5 minutes, everyone got up and returned to the team. Perhaps it was because Officer Fong had said that they would be disqualified if they didn't come out in 5 minutes. Even the slower Luo Berry, and the absent-minded Nan Linlin came out in 5 minutes. Officer Fong held a stack of number plates in his hand. Seeing that everyone had arrived in the stipulated time, he nodded in satisfaction. He first praised everyone, and then went straight to the point. Everyone performed very well today. I'm very satisfied. Continue to maintain your speed in the future. After praising, Officer Fong waved the number plates in his hand and continued. These number plates in my hand are your numbers. From now on, you have to hang the number plates on your waist at all times. You are not allowed to call each other by their real names in the selection field. You are only allowed to call each other by their numbers. If there is a violation, you will be disqualified. Do you all understand? Don't blame the selection field for having many rules. From time to time, they would be disqualified. All the rules of the selection field were related to the hunting school. In the hunting school, it might not be as simple as being disqualified. Understood? Everyone responded. Then from now on, your selection competition will officially begin. This selection will last for a month. In the first 20 days, you will be required to complete a difficult and dangerous subject under actual combat conditions every day. If you can't complete it, you will be disqualified on the same day. In the last 10 days, everyone who is not disqualified will compete one-on-one. The final 3 winners will be the top 3 in the hunting school. Chapter 1625. Also, I'm sure everyone knows that Luo Berry and Nan Linlin are not competing for the hunting school spots. Hence, they will participate in our training, but will not be disqualified. The 2 of them will not affect anyone. As Fong Chang spoke, he did not forget to mention one more thing. Luo Berry and Nan Linlin were different from everyone else. They were not special forces, and would not compete for the hunting school spots. Hearing this, the 100 people around them let down their guard, as they were not a threat to Luo Berry and Nan Linlin. With Officer Fong's final words, the selection officially began. In fact, in the first few days of the selection round, it was not difficult for special forces to pass the 20 dangerous subjects under actual combat conditions. Out of the 20 tasks, the first 19 were to test the physical standards of the participants. For example, bomb throwing, cross-country with 15 kilograms of weights for 5 kilometers, single and parallel bars for apparatus, 100-meter prone shooting for infantry, and so on. As long as one could achieve the required results in one go, they would be able to pass. Furthermore, it was easy but also nerve-wracking to pass the tests every day. This was because there was only one test per day. If there was a mistake, one would be disqualified. However, other than Luo Berry and Nan Linlin, the rest were the best special forces in Country Z. Naturally, there would not be any mistakes. Hence, in these 19 days, other than one special forces soldier, who accidentally made a mistake, and was disqualified on the spot, the rest passed the tests. In these 19 days, Yun Jian's performance was very ordinary. Like all the other special forces soldiers, she completed the tasks at a reasonable speed. Yun Jian did not display any shocking abilities. This made Zhou Duanzheng and the rest think that Yun Jian's terrifying swordsmanship was just a coincidence. Hence, Zhou Duanzheng and his gang's taunts and arrogance toward Yun Jian began to spread like wildfire. On the 20th day on the open field, Officer Fong went back to his place to drink water. After the intense exercise, everyone sat on the field to rest. Some of them went back to their places to drink water and change their clothes. This was because the last of the 20 dangerous subjects under actual combat conditions would be carried out soon. The last one was undoubtedly the most difficult of the 20 dangerous subjects. According to Officer Fong, the elimination rate for the last one was as high as 80%. In other words, most of them would be eliminated. Therefore, everyone present would do their best to prevent themselves from being disqualified. On the spacious lawn, Yun Jian was wearing a short-sleeved shirt and black denim pants. She was lying on the lawn with one leg stretched out, and the other bent lazily. She gently placed her hand above her eyes, trying to use her arm to cover the burning and eye-piercing sun above her head. Su Mei and the others sat beside Yun Jian. Seeing that Yun Jian wasn't afraid at all, Su Mei couldn't help asking, 006, Aren't you afraid of being eliminated? After 19 days, everyone had gotten used to calling each other by their numbers. I'm not afraid. Yunjian narrowed her eyes and moved her hand away slightly. She narrowed her eyes and looked at the scorching sun above her head. After a moment of silence, she continued, "Because I won't be eliminated." His words sounded ordinary, but they were surprisingly full of confidence. Ahahaha. Do you think you won't be eliminated just because you said so? I really don't know what kind of courage you have to say that. The elimination rate for today's subject is as high as 80%. You didn't stand out in the previous 19 physical tests. They weren't as good as our 015. Oh, at first, you bragged about yourself to the sky and really made yourself into a powerful figure that no one could compare to. But in the end, your previous 19 physical tests were just so. Chapter 1626. The 015 that Zhou Duanjing was talking about was a person called Wu Ningnai. Wu Ningnai was one of the more outstanding people in Zhou Duanjing's group. In the first 19 days, Wu Ningnai's strength could be considered the most outstanding of all the special forces. Not only did he get first place in the cross-country race, he got first place in almost 50% of all the events. He could be considered a very eye-catching existence. In comparison, Yunjian's results, every time she just passed the passing line, not much more, not much less. This made those who originally thought that Yunjian was very strong let down their guard against Yunjian. They originally thought that she was some powerful person. Previously, she was praised by Chief Fong as the one who gathered the fastest, and a sandalwood box even fell out of her bag. In the end, they found out that Yunjian didn't change into her pajamas when she slept, and rushed out as soon as the alarm sounded. If she wasn't fast enough, a sow could give birth to 1,000 piglets in one go. And that sandalwood box, it was complete nonsense. She had the nerve to show off that it was fake. Zhou Duanjing secretly laughed twice, then stared straight at Yunjian, curled his lips and looked coldly at Yunjian. Wu Ningnai, who Zhou Duanjing was talking about, stretched out his hand in front of Yunjian, Su Mei, and the others to show off his muscles, then raised his head proudly and looked at Yunjian. I heard that the last event is a competition of teamwork. Our team has 015, so we will definitely win. As for you guys. When Zhou Duanjing said this, he looked up and down at Yunjian's group, then made a few tisk-tisk sounds, paused, then continued. You guys just wait to pack up and leave. Let's go. After Zhou Duanjing said those arrogant words, he waved at everyone and turned to leave. You guys. Even if Zhou Duanjing was talking about Yunjian, Su Mei was still quite angry by Zhou Duanjing's words. She was about to curse back, but Yunjian grabbed her hand. If they do this, I couldn't take it lying down. Su Mei was about to speak when she was interrupted by Yunjian. Don't take the words of an ant seriously, Yunjian said indifferently. Ants? Yunjian compared Zhou Duanjing and his group to ants? After hearing Yunjian's words, Su Mei really didn't care about what Zhou Duanjing said. Everyone gather. At this moment, Officer Fong, who had gone back to his residence to drink water, had returned. Not only did Officer Fong come back, but he also brought back more than 10 soldiers. Each of these soldiers was carrying more than 10 military backpacks. After they put down the military backpacks, Officer Fong stood in front of them again. Our 20th subject is a dangerous subject under actual combat conditions. It's both simple and difficult. In a moment, each of you will be given a backpack. Take this backpack, and we will bring you to an entrance called the Misty Forest. The objective of the mission is to depart from the entrance of the Misty Forest and walk out of the Misty Forest in the shortest time possible. We will be waiting for you at the designated destination. The first 20 people to walk out of the Misty Forest will advance. In addition, you are in groups of 5. You can freely form groups. The first 20 people to reach the destination, which is the members of 4 groups, will advance. In addition, this backpack contains water, food, a compass, and a series of other things. Someone once walked out of the Misty Forest in the shortest time possible, using 24 hours and 39 minutes, so I wish you all good luck. Chapter 1627. By the way, There are many ferocious beasts in the misty forest. If you are surrounded by ferocious beasts, the chances of you dying are very high. Therefore, during the competition, you can press the emergency button at any time. Our people will definitely arrive and save you before anything happens to you. However, it also means that you'll be disqualified. Of course, it's up to you. Alright, if you're ready, come and register your team of 5 and get ready to go. Officer Fong reminded him once again in a very earnest and heartfelt manner. They chose to go to the fog forest because it was very dangerous. However, they were all special forces and had gone through inhuman training. Even if they encountered beasts, they could protect themselves for a short period of time. Normally, nothing would happen in the fog forest. Moreover, they were all special forces who were competing for a place to go to the hunting school. They had to go to places like the hunting school, let alone a place like the fog forest. If they did not even dare to go to the fog forest, they would not even need to compete for a place to go to the hunting school. After everyone put on their equipment and gathered, they were ready to depart. Luo Berry and Nan Linlin would not participate in such a dangerous activity. Therefore, they stood aside and watched all the special forces put on their equipment and prepare to depart. After interacting with each other for a few days, Nan Linlin's attitude towards Yun Jian was very bad. On the contrary, Luo Berry's relationship with Yun Jian and Su Mei was very good. At this moment, Luo Berry was looking at Yun Jian and Su Mei with a worried expression. Seeing that Yun Jian and Su Mei were about to take the bus to the fog forest, Luo Berry waved at Yun Jian and Su Mei. Come back safely. You have to get first place. I believe in you. Yes, we will. Su Mei gestured at Luo Berry. Yun Jian was far away. Although she did not say anything to cheer Luo Berry up, she winked at Luo Berry as a response. After that, a few buses brought Yun Jian and her team to the entrance of the fog forest. The misty forest was indeed as its name suggested. Looking from the cement road beside the misty forest, the top of the forest was covered by a thick layer of fog. The entire forest seemed to be covered by a thick layer of fog. You can go in now, Chief Fong said to everyone with his arms crossed. As soon as he said that, all the members of the team swarmed in. Everyone wanted to enter the dense fog forest first, so that they could leave the dense fog forest one step faster than others. Yun Jian naturally formed a team with Su Mei and the others. Seeing that the other teams had already walked towards the misty forest, Yun Jian stopped Su Mei and the others. She pursed her lips and said, "No rush." Huh. Although Su Mei didn't understand, she didn't force her way in. Yun Jian walked forward and rummaged through the soil at the entrance of the misty forest, as if she was looking for something. After rummaging through the surrounding soil, she followed Su Mei and the others into the misty forest. They are far away. Let's go faster, Su Mei said. Yun Jian's eyes darkened, but she didn't say anything. After walking for about an hour, they bumped into Zhou Duanjing and the others. It wasn't just Zhou Duanjing's team. There were also a few other teams resting where they were. After walking for an hour, everyone was naturally tired. Their drive wasn't as strong as before. Yun Jian and the others didn't walk very fast, so they could still continue walking. But just as they were about to continue, they were stopped by Zhou Duanjing and the others. Zhou Duanjing even teased Yun Jian with a smile. Yo, you guys still want to continue walking? If you meet any ferocious beasts, don't come crying to us for help. As soon as Zhou Duanjing mentioned ferocious beasts, Yun Jian frowned. Just then, the roars of ferocious beasts came from afar. No way. Zhou Duanjing's face instantly darkened. Ferocious beasts were really coming? Could it be that his crow's beak had hit the jackpot? It's a pack of wolves, Yun Jian said as she took out 2 butterfly knives from her backpack and held them in her hands. Don't scare us. It sounded like the cry of a bird. How could we meet such a dangerous species as a pack of wolves the moment we enter? Do you think you have good hearing and can hear clearly that it's a pack of wolves? One of the people in Zhou Duanjing's group chuckled coldly at Yun Jian. But just as this person finished speaking, ferocious wolves leaped out of the forest one after another. All the wolves surrounded them ferociously. This time, everyone who was sitting where they were stood up. The expressions of Zhou Duanjing and the person who said Yun Jian was spouting nonsense changed drastically. Especially the person who said Yun Jian was spouting nonsense. When he saw this scene, he immediately exclaimed, F***ck, it's really a pack of wolves. Chapter 1628. Zhou Duanjing, Wu Ningnai, and the others were dumbfounded. They watched in shock as one wild wolf after another flew out from the surrounding forest, and then naturally formed a large circle, surrounding the people present. Awa! Awa! There seemed to be some unknown music coming from afar. The moment they heard the music, the wolves did not surround everyone at the same time. Instead, they surrounded everyone in the center of the circle, and raised their heads to howl loudly. The howls were deafening for a moment. 80% of the special forces who participated in the 20th combat event were resting here. They were now trapped in the wolf pack with Yun Jian and the rest. The moment they saw the wolf pack, everyone was shocked at first, then their expressions tensed up. Everyone present was the best special forces from all over countries. Even if they were to face a wolf pack, they would not lose their lives here. Zhou Duanjing was in the weaker batch, so when he saw the wolf pack, he was in a more pathetic state. The other special forces were not the same. When they saw the wolf pack, they only tensed up and silently picked up the weapons in their hands. It was unfortunate to encounter a wolf pack, but as a special forces soldier, they did not have to complain about encountering a wolf pack or be unlucky. They had to be ready for battle at all times. The wolf pack was still leaping out of the forest. All the special forces soldiers looked at the wolf pack that surrounded them and did not move. Why are there so many wolves? Su Mei furrowed her brows. She grabbed a dagger from her military backpack and held it in her palm. She looked at the wolves leaping out of the woods one after another. Her expression was extremely bad. Everyone don't fight. Work in pairs. Back to back, protect your back, and kill the wolves head on. Wang Buren's voice was heard at this moment. After all, Wang Buren was considered strong. He was old and calm, so he was more meticulous in his work. Hence, as soon as Wang Buren's words fell, many special forces soldiers listened to his advice, and each found a trustworthy partner. Back to back, they faced the wolf pack head-on. Zhou Duanjing, who was just mocking Yun Jian and crying for help, was now scared. He did not even care about Yun Jian. He stared at the wolf pack, afraid that the wolves would rush up and bite him to death. Just as the group was on high alert, Yun Jian's eyes flashed. She moved the butterfly knife in her hand and stared at the wolves for a while. In the next second, Yun Jian put away the butterfly knife. 006, what's wrong with you? Give me your back. Let's kill the wolves together. Su Mei saw that Yun Jian was not moving at all. She frowned and then held the dagger, alert to see if the wolves around them were charging at her. Haha, she must have been scared silly. I told you, a girl like her, if she can't accept this cruel reality, she should go home by herself. Zhou Duanjing had Wu Ningnai behind him, so he was very arrogant. While guarding against the wolves around them, he did not forget to mock Yun Jian. However, just as Zhou Duanjing finished speaking, the special forces soldiers who were ready to kill the wolves saw Yun Jian's eyes flash. She actually walked straight toward the wolves. 006, are you crazy? Seeing Yun Jian walking toward the wolves, Wang Buren saw this and his eyes widened. He was so scared that he shouted, she really wants to die. Zhou Duanjing could not help but sigh. However, before he finished speaking, everyone saw Yun Jian raise her leg and kick the wolf standing in front of her. It's over. Everyone present thought that Yun Jian was done for and was about to be surrounded by the wolves. However, when the surrounding wolves saw that the wolf was kicked away by Yun Jian and received Yun Jian's cold aura, the wolves were so scared that they instantly made way for her. What was going on? She had the ability to make the wolves make way for her? This was not the end. Yun Jian walked forward for about 20 meters and walked under a very large tree. From behind the tree, she pulled out a man in camouflage. After Yun Jian pulled out the man in camouflage, she dragged the man to the ground. Looking at him, this person was actually a Special Forces soldier under Officer Fang. The Special Forces soldiers in the distance were shocked, but they heard Yun Jian's voice again. She coldly curled her lips and said with a faint smile, "Controlling the wolves to attack us, is it fun? If I'm not wrong, if we continue walking, we will encounter all kinds of ferocious beasts. It's only a 4-hour walk from the entrance to the end of the misty forest. If we encounter ferocious beasts, the fastest speed we can reach the end is 24 hours. By the time we've chased the beasts away, it's already dark. We have to spend the night in the forest to ensure our safety. Officer, may I ask if I'm right?" As soon as Yin Jian finished speaking, the Special Forces soldier under Officer Fang's command had a drastic change in expression. He looked as if he had been completely seen through by Yun Jian. Then this Special Forces soldier took out his walkie-talkie and said anxiously to Officer Fang on the other end of the walkie-talkie. Chapter 1629. Officer Fang had already reached the end of the fog forest. He had ordered his men to set up a few tents at the end of the fog forest. He planned to spend the night there. According to his calculations, the fastest special forces that entered the fog forest would take at least 24 hours to get out. Hence, he was not in a hurry at all. Officer Fang stayed at the end. There was a rocking chair here. He sat on the rocking chair and rocked back and forth, enjoying the sunlight. It had already been an hour. The first wave of wolves reared by his men should have surrounded them by now. He was really looking forward to it. When would they come out? There was also the good seedling that he had just discovered this year. 006. Would she break the record of being the fastest person to lead her team out of the misty forest? He was really looking forward to it. At this moment, a military jeep drove over from the side of the cement road. When Officer Fang saw the person who got out of the jeep, he immediately stood up from his rocking chair and saluted the middle-aged man who got out of the jeep. "Sir." The middle-aged man who came down from the military jeep was Officer Fang's superior, Commander Ma. Commander Ma saw Officer Fang saluting him. He waved his hand and stopped Officer Fang from saluting him. He smiled kindly at Officer Fang. After Commander Ma, there were many officers of the same rank as Officer Fang, who came down from the military jeep. "Old Fang, have they all entered the fog forest?" Commander Ma narrowed his eyes and asked Officer Fang. The superiors attached great importance to this selection competition. It was not only because the top 3 spots in the hunting school had to be taken by the best special forces. More importantly, if the 3 special forces who went to the hunting school could graduate successfully, it would have a great impact on Z country's reputation. At least the foreigners would not look down on Z country's people. Z country's people also had to establish their own dignity. Hence, Commander Ma came down from the army to check on the situation. "Yes, sir." Officer Fang nodded at Commander Ma. "Well, have you found any good seedlings in the past 19 days? Commander Ma nodded and asked again. "There are some good seedlings, but they are still young." Speaking of good seedlings, the first person that came to Officer Fang's mind was undoubtedly Yun Jian. "How small? How's his strength?" Military Commander Ma quickly asked. 16 years old, and her strength is amazing. Officer Fang could only use the word amazing to describe Yun Jian. "Oh, since you can use such a tone to evaluate her, she must be a good seedling. I really want to meet him." As soon as Commander Ma finished his sentence, Chief Fang's walkie-talkie rang. The panicked voice of the Special Forces soldier on the other end of the walkie-talkie could be heard all over the place. "Yes, sir. Our plan has been seen through." All the officers present knew why it took so long to walk from the entrance to the exit of the dense fog forest. However, this was also to train a Special Forces soldier's ability to respond to unexpected situations and complete missions quickly. Therefore, all of the officers were well aware of this situation. However, ever since the selection had been held, the secret of the fog forest had never been discovered by any of the participating special forces. Not to mention that the plan had been seen through. If the plan was seen through, then this plan would definitely not work. Therefore, the voice from the walkie-talkie made Officer Fang, Commander Ma, and all the officers standing behind Commander Ma widen their eyes. What? The plan has been seen through. Who saw through it? Officer Fang asked the Special Forces soldier on the other end of the walkie-talkie in a daze. The voice of the Special Forces soldier immediately came from the other end. Hearing this, Officer Fang's eyes widened in shock. 006, isn't it her? It's that little girl. Chapter 1630. Military Commander Ma was even more satisfied after hearing the Special Forces soldier's words. While the officers were shocked, Military Commander Ma did not forget to nod. She is indeed a good seedling. I am confident that our Z country's Special Forces will be able to hold our heads high in the hunting school this time. In the past, the Special Forces soldiers sent by Z country to the hunting school were not particularly outstanding. Hence, they were indirectly ridiculed by the hunting school and some international figures. Although there were a few exceptional talents, there were not many of them overall. There were only 1 or 2 of them who were at the top. Moreover, the 1 or 2 at the top was not as powerful as 100 or so people. Hence, when they heard that Yun Jian had exposed their plan, Military Commander Ma, Chief Fang, and every officer present were both embarrassed and excited. They were excited because they had finally found another good seedling. Ha ha ha. Old Fang, I have a feeling that this young lady will definitely amaze the world. Then she will become an outstanding representative figure in the history of Z country. Military Commander Ma gave the highest evaluation he had ever given in his life. Hearing this, the surrounding officers expressed their agreement. Somewhere in the misty forest, Zhou Duanjing, Wu Ningnai, and the rest were watching the scene with their mouths agape. No one had expected Yun Jian to pull off such a trick. When Yun Jian walked towards the wolves earlier, everyone thought that Yun Jian wanted to deal with the wolves alone. However, no one had expected Yun Jian to kick away a wolf, then stun the wolves. Finally, she walked over and pulled out the Special Forces soldier under Chief Fang from behind a big tree. She even used a shocking method to decipher all the facts one by one. Without asking about anything else, Yun Jian's words had frightened the Special Forces soldier under Chief Fang to the point that he immediately called Chief Fang for help. Who on the scene could do such a thing? When they were surrounded by the wolves just now, everyone wanted to fight, but Yun Jian was the only one who saw through it. It was really, at that moment, no one dared to say a word, until Chief Fang's voice came from the walkie-talkie. Ahem. Since the plan has been discovered, I will change the competition at the last minute. For the sake of fairness, I will remove all the beasts that are obstructing you. Everyone will rely on their own abilities. Whoever reaches the finish line first will win. The elimination system will remain unchanged. You can run if you want. The top 20 who find the correct direction and reach the finish line in the misty forest will advance. You may move now. 80% of the Special Forces were surrounded by the wolves, and the remaining 20% were not present. For the sake of fairness, Chief Fang changed the rules. He wanted everyone to reach the finish line in the misty forest as soon as possible, and secretly removed all the beasts that attacked the Special Forces soldiers. In other words, the other 20% of the Special Forces would not encounter any ferocious beasts along the way, and would be dismissed by Chief Fang. In this way, fairness could be guaranteed. As soon as Officer Fang finished speaking, the surrounding Special Forces soldiers continued moving forward as fast as they could. Run! Why were they standing, waiting for the food? In fact, even without the beast's attack, it was not easy to run to the finish line, because it was easy to get lost in the misty forest. If he just ran forward without knowing the direction, what if he ran in the wrong direction? Wouldn't they be even further away from the finish line? Yun Jian, what should we do? Perhaps because Yun Jian's performance was too outstanding, Su Mei, Su Wenming, and the other 3 walked up to Yun Jian and asked Yun Jian, "Run! Whoever reaches the finish line first will win." However, Yun Jian only narrowed her eyes slightly. Then she took the lead and took a step forward. Chapter 1631. Since Chief Fang had changed the competition format at the last minute, the members of each group could only run for a few steps before stopping. Running like this was not the way to go. Of course, they could not just run blindly. Secondly, they had to find the right direction and be precise. In this way, the 5 members of each group had to run in different directions. However, Without the attacks of the beasts, the journey that would have taken them more than 24 hours could now be completed in a few hours. Of course, whether they were fast or slow still depended on their own speed and the time it took to find the right direction. Yunjian did not even look at the compass. Sometimes, she would just look at the ground and decide which direction to go. Su Mei and the other three were very curious about this, but they chose to believe in Yunjian unconditionally. Old Fong, you changed the competition format at the last minute. That little girl is a good seedling. Will she be able to advance? Military Commander Ma was very interested in Yunjian. He kept asking Chief Fong. With her strength, if she can't advance, then there's no need for her to stay in the selection field. Chief Fong's heart was tense as he said this very calmly. To Chief Fong, if Yunjian was really a good seedling, then no matter how the competition format was changed, she would definitely pass. Otherwise, there was no need for a good seedling like Yunjian to stay. Old Fong, in your opinion, how long will it take for that little girl to come out of the misty forest? Military Commander Ma squinted his eyes and asked Chief Fong again. Officer Fong was silent for 2 seconds. He did some calculations seriously and finally said, "That's right. 4 hours at the fastest. The misty forest is covered with green trees. Even with a compass, someone once took 4 hours to walk out of the misty forest. That was under the condition that the misty forest was unobstructed. Moreover, from the entrance of the misty forest to here, there is a place that is covered with fog all year round. It will definitely take a long time to walk out of there. So I estimate that it will take at least 4 hours." Chief Fong combined all the theories, reality, and people who had walked through that place before. Under the condition that there were no beasts, it would take at least 4 hours to walk out of the misty forest. Therefore, Chief Fong gave Yunjian the fastest speed, which was 4 hours. "No, I think she will be even faster." Military Commander Ma suddenly interrupted Officer Fong confidently and said to Officer Fong confidently, "It had been 2 hours since the special forces had entered the fog forest from the entrance." "Oh, what do you mean?" Chief Fong narrowed his eyes and asked, "I trust my intuition. This little girl will lead us to a new height." Military Commander Ma looked forward and let out a long sigh. After a while, Military Commander Ma continued solemnly, "I estimate that she can break the record and reach the finish line in 3 hours. 3 hours. No one had ever passed through the misty forest in 3 hours and reached the finish line. How high did Commander Ma think of Yunjian? All the officers present took a deep breath in shock. Look, that's... Just as Commander Ma gave Yunjian the highest rating and estimated the fastest record, someone exclaimed in surprise. That's someone coming out from the misty forest? That's impossible. It's only been 2 hours. Someone actually reached the finish line from the entrance of the misty forest in just 2 hours." Another exclamation of surprise was heard. All the officers present were shocked. They felt that they had never encountered anything more shocking than today. "That's 006. Officer Fong narrowed his eyes when he saw the petite figure easily pass through the last patch of grass and walk over with the other 4 people from the same team. He exclaimed in surprise. All the officers present straightened their backs solemnly when they saw the number tag hanging on the leader's chest. Chapter 1632. Yunjian had her hands in her pockets. She strolled towards them lazily while enjoying the scenery. "We were here? We're at the finish line." Su Mei saw Chief Fong and the other officers standing beside him. She was so surprised that she couldn't move her legs. That's it. Did that mean that they wouldn't be disqualified and would advance to the next round? The elimination rate this time was as high as 80%. In other words, among the 99 special forces, only the top 20, which was 1/5 of them, would be able to advance. The rest of them would be disqualified in this event. Pack up and leave. With such an elimination rate, even if Yunjian foiled Chief Fong and his team's plan, it was still terribly difficult for her to walk out of Mist Forest in the top 20 and advance to the next round. In spite of it, Yunjian had brought them to the destination in just 2 short hours. First place. First place. It's really her. It's really her. Chief Feng was so excited that he pinched the corner of his shirt and shouted. Chief Feng had never lost his composure like today. However, the moment he saw Yunjian and saw the number 006 tag hanging on Yunjian's chest, he almost jumped onto Commander Ma's waist and hugged him. Although Commander Ma was also excited, he still resisted the urge of Chief Feng to jump on him. He twitched the corner of his mouth and cursed in his heart. Luckily I'm prepared. Old Feng, if you jump on me, my waist will be hurt by your hug. Chief Feng's eyes were fixed on Yunjian from the beginning to the end. When he saw Yunjian walking towards him, a trace of pride flashed across his heart. It was his pride to be able to become Yunjian's chief. Yunjian walked slowly to the finish line. Chief Feng excitedly said to Yunjian and the other 5 people with Yunjian, 006, congratulations on getting first place in the 20th Dangerous Combat event. And your team is the first to reach the finish line. When he said this, Officer Feng was trembling all over. By the time the other teams reached the finish line, it had already been 6 hours since they entered the misty forest. By the 7th hour, all the teams had exited the dense fog forest. The outcome had been decided, but the teams that were eliminated on the spot were not discouraged. After all, he had participated in the preliminaries for 20 days and got to know many people. It was not a loss. When the results were announced, although Officer Feng's tone was much calmer in front of everyone, he still spoke with a hint of excitement. The first place of the 20th dangerous subject under actual combat conditions is 006. 006 is an example that all of you should learn from. Speaking of the 3 numbers 006, Officer Feng's blood was boiling. For some reason, when he said these 3 numbers, everyone present felt as if they were surrounded by faith. Zhou Duanjing and Wu Ningnai's faces were the darkest and scariest among all the people present. They had mocked Yunjian before, and now their faces were as ugly as they looked. However, it was undeniable that Zhou Duanjing and Wu Ningnai were quite capable as they had advanced. Although they were the last team to advance, they had barely passed the passing line. Chief, when you mentioned 006 earlier, I had an illusion that I was looking at Slaying God, who stood at the pinnacle of the world. Her abilities were admirable, and she was ranked first on the International Secret Agent Leaderboard. That's because Slaying God's serial number was 006 when she first joined the Enhun organization. At that moment, a Special Forces soldier who was eliminated suddenly said, although Slaying God was an international fugitive, it was undeniable that Slaying God's abilities were the lifelong pursuit of many people. 006 was Slaying God's serial number when she first joined the Enhun organization. It was like the protection of God. Yunjian's abilities and her serial number made the Special Forces soldier feel as if he had seen Slaying God herself. Everyone around them had the same illusion when they heard that. Chapter 1633. When everyone looked at Yunjian, they felt as if they were looking at Slaying God, the number 1 secret agent in the world. 006. It was the symbol of strength. After the Special Forces soldier praised Yunjian, the other Special Forces soldiers who were disqualified in this round looked at Yunjian with admiration, as if they were looking at Slaying God. Putting everything else aside, the ability of Slaying God, the number 1 secret agent in the world, was legendary. At the same time, it was the dream of countless Special Forces soldiers, and a realm that they wanted to reach. Countless Special Forces soldiers wanted to fight for the quota, to go to the Hunter Academy, in order to train their skills, to become someone like Slaying God. So what if you're staring at her? She's 006, but that doesn't mean she's Slaying God. Seeing that everyone was looking at Yunjian, Zhou Duanjing, who was standing not far away, had long found Yunjian an eyesore. This time, he said what he wanted to say in front of everyone. 006, the same as when Slaying God first joined Enhun. But what did that mean? It did not mean that Yunjian was Slaying God, the number 1 secret agent in the world. Even if Yunjian's performance was shocking, Zhou Duanjing had never seen Yunjian show off her amazing skills. To Zhou Duanjing, even if Yunjian had surprised a bunch of people, she was just taking advantage of the situation. At most she was smarter, looking at her skinny body. She did not look like she had much strength. That's true, but the young lady is really amazing. She needs to be praised. At least, I can't reach her level now. Haha, I've been disqualified. A man in his 30s refuted Zhou Duanjing's statement tactfully. He first smiled, then praised Yunjian indirectly. With an 80% elimination rate, it was amazing that a teenage girl like Yunjian could stay in the selection field. Zhou Duanjing clenched his fists. He originally wanted to say something, but he forcefully swallowed the words that he wanted to say. He would use his fists and strength to show Yunjian in the next few days that it was impossible for her to compete for the top 3 spots in the Hunter Academy with just some tricks. He would let her know that leaving the selection field with serious injuries was not a joke. The results of the competition are out. Many people have left. You can leave the selection field tonight. Chief Feng signaled for everyone to quiet down and said to the Special Forces soldiers who had been disqualified, "Don't be upset that you've been disqualified because you're not disqualified. You're just temporarily. Next year, the year after that, and the year after that, there's still plenty of time for you to make a comeback. Remember that each and every one of you are the pride of Country Z. Everyone has their own value." Officer Fong patted his chest and spoke very solemnly, spreading his passionate words to everyone present. After he said that, the Special Forces soldiers who were disappointed that they had been eliminated mustered their courage again. Chief Fong at the same time, 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 at the same time. After sending away all the Special Forces soldiers who had been disqualified, there were only 20 Special Forces soldiers left, including Nan Linlin and Luo Mei. Nan Linlin and Luo Mei were not included in the 20 Special Forces soldiers. They were there purely to experience life. Luo Mei, on the other hand, was very hardworking in learning martial arts. After sending away all the Special Forces soldiers who had been disqualified, Chief Feng gathered the remaining 20 Special Forces soldiers in an empty space. Nan Linlin and Luo Mei were not included in this group of 20 Special Forces soldiers. "I'll bring you to a Taekwondo dojo later. You'll stay there for the next few days. We're just borrowing the dojo's space. The remaining 20 Special Forces soldiers will fight one-on-one. You'll fight each other once a day. I'll explain the rules later. When we get there, the Taekwondo dojo has its own business. Everyone can train in the Taekwondo dojo, but don't disturb their business. I'll take you there now." Chapter 1634. After Officer Fong finished speaking, he asked the people who stayed behind to pack their luggage. After staying here for 20 days, Luo Mei was reluctant to leave. "So many of us were eliminated so suddenly. I feel a little sad." Luo Mei pouted and said dejectedly, "All good things must come to an end. Our selection competition will officially end in 10 days. Su Mei had to say something that made Luo Mei's heart ache. Luo Mei was still too naive. "Then can I still hang out with you guys in the future?" Luo Mei looked at Yunjian, and then at Su Mei and asked expectantly. "Of course." Su Mei answered coolly. Luo Mei heard Su Mei's words, and looked at Yunjian expectantly. "Sure." Yunjian's red arc moved slightly, and she said calmly, "That's great." Luo Mei smiled at Yunjian, and Su Mei and clapped her hands excitedly. "TSK, we've only been together for a few days. You're acting as if you've already been through life and death together. Pretentious." Nan Linlin heard what Luo Mei said to Yunjian, and Su Mei couldn't help but complain. As soon as she finished speaking, Nan Linlin's call was connected. She hurriedly pressed the hands-free button and pressed the phone to her ear. The disgusting face just now instantly disappeared and was replaced by an intimate and disgusting smile. "Hello, dear, what are you doing?" "Me. We're going to a Taekwondo dojo. I don't know where it is." Okay. I'll send you the address as soon as I know it." "Uh-huh. I love you too. I want a kiss. I've been here for you for the past few days, and I've been bored to death." Yunjian raised her eyebrows slightly after Nan Linlin's mushy words. Luo Mei and Su Mei's tolerance was obviously weaker than Yunjian's. Even though it was not their first time hearing Nan Linlin's mushy words, their lips still twitched. It was true that they reacted this way, because they were numbed by the words. However, Yunjian had already packed her bag. She slung it over her shoulder and was about to walk out. "We're ready too." Luo Mei and Su Mei couldn't stay any longer. They quickly picked up their luggage and followed Yunjian out of the door. After everyone had arrived, Officer Fong led them to the taekwondo gym he had mentioned. This taekwondo dojo was very big. It was the only dojo in the entire Z country. It took Officer Fong 2 hours to take a bus to get here. Other taekwondo dojos only had 1 floor, and the area was not large, but this taekwondo dojo's had 3 floors. The entire 3 floors were the taekwondo dojo's territory. Each of the 3 floors was an endless training ground. The business here was very big, and there were many people who came here to practice taekwondo. Moreover, there was a hotel on the 3rd floor of the taekwondo club. As soon as Yunjian and the others arrived, they were arranged to stay in a hotel on the 3rd floor of the taekwondo dojo. Because the business of the taekwondo dojo was booming, many big shots from all over the country came here. Even some famous people from the world came here. So the business of the hotel was also booming. After Yunjian and the others checked in on the 3rd floor, the one-on-one competition was not in a hurry to start. At night, Officer Fong gave everyone some free time. They could also go out with their friends, go to restaurants, go to the supermarket to buy something to eat, and so on. After Yunjian, Su Mei, Luo Mei, and the others settled down, they went downstairs to look for food. It was still early. 5 o'clock was the time for the taekwondo students to go home for dinner. So Yunjian and the others did not see many taekwondo students when they went downstairs. They found a snack bar nearby and sat down to order 3 bowls of pickled vegetable noodles. Just as Yunjian and the others relaxed, they heard someone at the next table mention, "Hey, did you guys know? I heard that many special forces have just moved in at the taekwondo dojo next door. It's said that there will be a one-on-one competition to choose the best 3 people." Chapter 1635. Special Forces? Special Forces coming to the taekwondo dojo for a fight? Is this news real or fake? Did you inquire wrongly? Another person asked in a slightly suspicious tone. How can my news be fake? Do you know about the International Hunting Academy? It's the place where the Special Forces are trained. I heard that this time, the Special Forces will compete here and choose the best 3, so that they can send the best 3 to the hunting school to further their studies. I heard that 80 Special Forces have been eliminated, and the top 20 have been chosen. The final battle will be held at the Taekwondo Dojo. The top 20 Special Forces are the best in the whole of country Z. They're not something that normal Special Forces can compare to. The burly man sitting next to him slurped his noodles and described the incident as if he was intoxicated. He looked as if he was one of the powerful Special Forces soldiers that he described. Hearing the man's boasting, the other burly men beside him were mesmerized. They clapped their hands and exclaimed, "Amazing! Amazing!" They didn't know that 2 of the Special Forces that they were boasting about were right next to them. It was normal that outsiders couldn't tell Yunjian and Su Mei's strength from their looks. Ahem. Su Mei blushed in embarrassment when she heard the boos of the men next to her. She coughed twice to show her embarrassment. Luo Berry and Nan Linlin weren't counted among the 20, so Luo Berry was just a little surprised. Yunjian was calm, as if nothing could change her expression. "The noodles are here. 3 bowls of kimchi noodles. It's warm, be careful not to burn it." The shop owner brought 3 bowls of freshly cooked kimchi noodles and placed them in front of Yunjian and the other 2. "Wow, it looks delicious." Luo Berry couldn't help but pick up her chopsticks and put the noodles into her mouth. "Phew, it's so hot. Don't burn yourself." Luo Huang gasped. She took 2 deep breaths. Then, she was afraid that Yunjian and Su Mei would be scalded like her. She endured the burning pain in her mouth and quickly spoke to Yunjian and Su Mei. "Hurry up and drink some water. Look at how impatient you are." Su Mei laughed dryly and quickly poured a cup of water for Luo Mei. Yunjian's eyelids lifted slightly, and her red eyes curved slightly. Yunjian ordered 3 bowls of noodles in a row and ate them all without blushing. Maybe it was because the noodles were too delicious. By the time they finished dinner, It was already 6:30 p.m. As soon as Yun Jian and the other two returned to the Taekwondo dojo, they saw about 20 to 30 Taekwondo students practicing boxing on the training ground on the first floor. There were also quite a few people standing around. It seemed like they were here to watch the show. Come on. Come on. Come on. Go Lin Kuan. There were actually girls dressed as cheerleaders standing by the side. They seemed to be cheering for a handsome boy among the 20 to 30 Taekwondo students. They seemed to be having a competition. Let's stay and watch before going back. Sume was suddenly interested. She squinted her eyes and said, "Sure." Luo Berry nodded. Yun Jian also stood in the same spot. These students were all practicing Taekwondo moves to see who could perform better. The male student named Lin Kuan instantly became the center of attention. Chapter 1636. That boy named Lin Kuan was the one with the most cheers out of all the Taekwondo students present. Moreover, this boy named Lin Kuan's punching technique was indeed vigorous and on point. Lin Kuan very much enjoyed being the center of attention. The girls around him were wearing cheerleading outfits and cheering him on. Today was the Taekwondo dojo's monthly punching competition. It was a competition of whose punches were on point and accurate. Ha! It wasn't until this boy named Lin Kuan threw the last punch that the group of girls wearing cheerleading outfits screamed, and the atmosphere reached its climax. There were also many parents standing around. It seemed that most of them were here to accompany their son. Seeing their son punching in front of these 20 to 30 Taekwondo students, they suddenly felt a sense of pride. Some parents even pulled the surrounding people and pointed at a certain figure and said, "This is my son," and so on. That boy named Lin Kuan was about 18 or 19 years old. When he threw the last punch and received the screams of the surrounding girls, his smug look could no longer be concealed. They are all so powerful. They are simply young geniuses. Each and every one of them has a unique skill. A parent exaggeratedly screamed and praised the 20 to 30 Taekwondo students. The scene had already reached its peak. Countless people were cheering and screaming uncontrollably. They are the hope of our country. Some parents even shouted loudly. To the parents, these youths who trained in Taekwondo were like martial arts experts. Because they knew Taekwondo, that feeling was different from that of ordinary youths. In short, in the eyes of the parents, as long as the children had a little bit of ability, they were already very powerful. This was also the reason why that boy named Lin Kuan, who looked quite good, was so smug. When a person was smug, it was completely dependent on the people around him flattering him. If no one around him flattered him, then there was no doubt that this person would not feel that he was different from ordinary people. After Lin Kuan finished punching, he domineeringly turned his head. He walked over and took a bottle of mineral water from a girl. He opened it and drank it. This girl was so happy that she almost fainted. Lin Kuan actually took the mineral water from her hand. Lin Kuan was already tired of these girls. Every time it was the same group of people who came to watch him punch. Once or twice, he felt very smug and knew how to brag about his strength. But every time it was the same group of people who came to watch him punch, and then screamed and cheered. He was no longer satisfied. Just as Lin Kuan drank the mineral water that the girl gave him, he inadvertently glanced at Yun Jian and the other two not far away. These three girls, he had never seen them before. Lin Kuan tossed the bottle of mineral water in his hand away, allowing it to flow on the floor as he made his way to Yun Jian and the others. Lin Kuan went to pick up girls again. Standing not far away were a few people who were about the same age as Lin Kuan. They were also members of the Taekwondo dojo, and were also Lin Kuan's good friends. Lin Kuan's attention, Lin Kuan's girls' attention. Who is Lin Kuan? Lin Kuan-s. Lin Kuan ran a hand through her hair as she stared at Yun Jian and Luo Mei, waiting for their reply. Luo Mei gulped and hid behind Yun Jian without making a sound. Lin Kuan, on the other hand, looked at Yun Jian. "Are you sure you want me to comment?" Under Lin Kuan's expectant gaze, Yun Jian indifferently asked. "Of course." Lin Kuan flicked his hair again. He looked at Yun Jian expectantly and continued to confirm. He had full confidence that Yun Jian would definitely give him a very high evaluation. Because his strength was there for all to see, he would not accept any rebuttal. In the distance, Lin Kuan's friends all revealed mocking smiles. Which young girl who saw Lin Kuan's handsome and eye-catching side wouldn't be able to resist giving him a high evaluation? Everyone around them looked at Yunjian, as if they were making a solemn vow. However, he heard Yunjian's comment. Fancy moves, flashy but not practical. Nice to look at but useless. Lin Kuan was dumbfounded by this comment. She said, "What did she say? Did she say that he was good-looking but useless? Hey, what's wrong with you? Lin Kuan is the best fighter in our Taekwondo dojo. You're a girl who doesn't even know how to fight. How dare you say that Lin Kuan's moves are flashy, but not practical? You're provoking us, right? Do you think you're one of those famous Special Forces soldiers who moved in today? You're just a young girl. How dare you use such a tone to comment on us? If you have the guts, show us how to fight." Just as Yunjian finished her comment, the boys in Lin Kuan's group immediately ran over and pointed at Yunjian. Their tone was full of disdain for Yunjian. It was as if they were saying, "You're a girl, so you should praise me. You don't even know Taekwondo, so what's so great about it?" Just as they finished speaking, someone walked in through the door. The man looked around and found his target before calling out to Yunjian, Sumei and Luo Berry. "You're here. 006-057-101. Officer Fong is calling us to gather outside." This person was one of Yunjian's Special Forces soldiers. Suddenly hearing this person's words, the boy who said that Yunjian was not good was shocked. Chapter 1637. Officer Fong led a team of Special Forces soldiers into the Taekwondo dojo, and they were about to have a one-on-one match. Even though Officer Fong brought Yunjian and her group of 20 over people here to keep a low profile, the news still leaked out. Special Forces soldiers, to ordinary people they were a sacred symbol. Normally, they wouldn't even be able to meet them. Being a Special Forces soldier represented strength. Why did the youths in the Taekwondo dojo train so hard? Wasn't it all for the sake of becoming stronger? And the Special Forces soldiers were such a powerful existence. As the saying goes, powerful people will always be looked up to. When they heard that Yunjian was a Special Forces soldier, all the parents and students in the Taekwondo dojo looked over with curiosity and shock. "She's one of the most powerful Special Forces soldiers in the country? Lin Kuan, who was swaggering in front of Yunjian, was so shocked that his eyes widened. He looked at Yunjian with a terrified expression. The girl in front of him was actually one of the most powerful Special Forces soldiers in the country? Was she even 18 years old? Lin Kuan's expression changed. He stared at Yunjian, and his expression was as if he had stepped on dog poop. Just now, he was so cocky in front of Yunjian. He thought that a girl actually dared to use such a contemptuous tone to judge him. She was only good-looking, but she was useless? But now, it seemed that his actions just now had turned into a ridiculous joke. Lin Kuan's expression was extremely dark. "Let's go, let's gather." Sumei was the oldest after all. She saw Lin Kuan and this group of brats talking about Yunjian like that. And now they were being humiliated. She only twitched the corner of her mouth and was too lazy to argue with them. Sumei waved at Yunjian and Luo Mei and walked towards the Taekwondo dojo's main entrance. Yunjian only sneered slightly, and then she turned around and followed Sumei out of the Taekwondo dojo. Yunjian's fluttering long hair was tied up high at the back of her head. She wore a black tight suit, and her tall and beautiful figure was vividly displayed. Her back view was so free and easy that it made people's blood boil. "Are all the Special Forces soldiers gathering at the entrance? Let's go, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Why aren't you guys going to take a look?" Some parents reacted and shouted excitedly. All the students and parents in the Taekwondo dojo reacted and followed them out. Although Lin Kuan felt awkward, he couldn't hold back his curiosity and walked out of the Taekwondo dojo's group. The three of them were the last to gather at the entrance. Chief Fong was currently standing on the steps of the Taekwondo gym, looking down at them. By the time the three of them entered the troop and stood at attention, everyone was already present. At this time, Lin Kuan and the others walked out of the Taekwondo dojo's entrance, full of curiosity. Everyone stood in the distance, and looked at Yun Jian's group of 20 people. Tomorrow, we will officially start the one-on-one competition. The rules are simple. We will draw lots to fight. The winner will stay, and the loser will pack up and leave. From today onwards, there will be a competition every day until the final 3 people are chosen. Officer Fong and the others were all present, and he spoke very solemnly. Because they were temporarily gathered at the entrance of the Taekwondo dojo, the passers-by stopped and looked over. Parents, Lin Kuan, and the others were all standing around. What shocked Lin Kuan and the others the most was that Yun Jian was actually a member of the Special Forces. But the shock was far more than that. After Officer Fong finished his speech, he continued, "Now, each of you can express your thoughts or your confidence in the competition." Officer Fong looked at Yun Jian and said to Yun Jian, "006, you have the best ability. You go first." After he finished speaking, Lin Kuan and the others watched as Yun Jian walked out from the group of Special Forces soldiers. And then walked up. The best ability? The youngest girl actually had the best ability. Chapter 1638. Lin Kuan and the others watched as Yun Jian left the team and slowly walked to the stairs of the Taekwondo dojo. She stood next to Chief Fong and turned around to look down at the people in the team. Seeing Yun Jian's solemn look, Lin Kuan and the others who were standing in the distance had an illusion for a moment. Yun Jian's appearance was like the king of all, looking down on everyone. Although Yun Jian's age and the aura she was exuding at this moment were completely different, Lin Kuan and the others who were standing in the distance couldn't help but be impressed by Yun Jian's aura. At this moment, Lin Kuan seemed to feel the difference between himself as a Taekwondo player and Yun Jian as the king of the Special Forces. In spite of it, Lin Kuan swallowed hard and shook his head, refocusing his gaze on Yun Jian. He saw Yun Jian standing next to Chief Fong. She narrowed her eyes and pursed her lips. In front of so many people, adults and children, she calmly said a sentence that made everyone feel that she was arrogant. "First place in this year's qualifier. Sorry, it's mine." Yun Jian's words were arrogant to the extreme. If the person who said this was a tall and sturdy man with great strength, no one present would have any doubts about it. But the person who said this was an underage girl, who looked like she wasn't even 18 years old. Although Yun Jian's figure was slim, she was already 165 meters tall. Among women, this height wasn't considered short. In spite of it, Yun Jian was skinny. Her slender figure made her look like a frail little girl. Let's not talk about this. Look at the group of Special Forces soldiers standing below. Which one of them was as thin as Yun Jian? But Yun Jian was still so arrogant. Although Chief Fong said that Yun Jian's ability was the best. But ability didn't represent strength. This young lady was able to become a Special Forces soldier at such a young age. She even stood out after eliminating the other Special Forces soldiers. She's really amazing. It's a pity that she's not modest, and her strength isn't that strong either. Such an arrogant little girl won't last long. A male parent who knew about one of the contestants shook his head and sighed. "Huh, who are you trying to impress?" Nam Lin, who was standing in the distance, sneered when she heard Yun Jian's words. He didn't say anything else. Zhou Duanjing and the others, who had always been at odds with Yun Jian, didn't try to undermine her after Yun Jian spoke in front of so many people. When Yun Jian returned to her original position, it was Zhou Duanjing's turn. Zhou Duanjing glared at Yun Jian fiercely and strode up the stairs. 006, the one-on-one competition will officially start tomorrow. On the day I fight you, I'll let you know how to write the word strength gap. Zhou Duanjing provoked Yun Jian with arrogant words as soon as he stood on the stairs. His tone was so mischievous that the surrounding audience was dumbfounded. When they finally reacted, the surrounding audience suddenly became excited. A public challenge? Then the one-on-one competition from tomorrow onwards would be fun. When Zhou Duanjing came down the stairs, Yun Jian narrowed her eyes and met his gaze. She mercilessly rebutted Zhou Duanjing's provocation in front of everyone. Chapter 1639. Yun Jian's counterattack made Zhou Duanjing's face darken. Anyone who was smart enough could tell that Zhou Duanjing and Yun Jian were not on good terms. "I'll see you in the arena." Zhou Duanjing gritted her teeth and spat back at Yun Jian. Zhou Duanjing was a member of the Special Forces after all. Lin Kuan, who wanted to show off in front of Yun Jian, felt a shiver run down his spine. Lin Kuan was still young. Although he was considered the most talented and powerful among the youths at his age, he was still young. But compared to the Special Forces, it was not even worth mentioning. Especially for a Special Forces soldier like Zhou Duanjing, who exuded an imposing aura. Lin Kuan felt his hair stand on end just by looking at Zhou Duanjing's eyes, let alone talking to Zhou Duanjing as arrogantly as Yun Jian did. "I'll wait for the day I kick you out of the competition." That kind of arrogant words. Regardless of Yun Jian's strength, Lin Kuan swallowed his saliva hard. Officer Fang obviously did not stop Yun Jian and Zhou Duanjing from verbally challenging each other. Sometimes, if one didn't stimulate one's potential, one would never know what realm one's strength could reach. After all the members went up to express their fighting spirit, Officer Fang concluded with a final sentence before dismissing everyone. "From tomorrow onwards, no matter if you leave or stay, please remember that you are the best." Some people would be frustrated for life because of one failure. Officer Fang was afraid that the Special Forces soldiers who were eliminated would have doubts about their strength. That was why he would transmit some positive energy to them before every large-scale elimination. "Alright, from now on, you can hang your number tags on your chests. Tomorrow onwards, you will enter the finals and compete one-on-one. You can dismiss now." After Officer Fang finished speaking, he announced the dismissal. The moment Officer Fang announced the dismissal, Luo Berry breathed a sigh of relief for some reason. Luo Berry then took out the number tag from his pocket and fastened it on his chest. Although Luo Berry and Nan Linlin would not be participating in the finals tomorrow, the two of them trained like Yun Jian and the rest. "Why can't this brooch be fastened? Sister Moldy, can you help me take a look?" Luo Berry tried for a long time, but she couldn't close the number tag on her chest. She tugged at it for a long time before leaning toward Sumei. At this moment, Yun Jian was standing not far away. She crossed her arms in front of her chest and did not touch her number tag, because Lin Kuan, who was showing off in front of her just now, was standing in front of her. "So you're from the Special Forces? Let's be friends. My dream is to be a Special Forces soldier too. To become a soldier. I believe that with my strength, I can definitely become a Special Forces soldier like you. It's just that God hasn't given me the opportunity to join the Special Forces like you did. But I believe that I will definitely join the Special Forces. I think we must be on the same side. So let's be friends." Lin Kuan confidently extended his hand towards Yun Jian. He had a mysterious confidence that if he joined the Special Forces, his strength would definitely be stronger than Yun Jian's. If a girl of Yun Jian's age could join the Special Forces, it meant that it wouldn't be difficult to stand out in the Special Forces. And with his strength, it would be extremely easy to stand out in the Special Forces. In short, Lin Kuan was full of confidence in himself. Even Yun Jian could not help twitching the corners of her lips when she saw how confident she was. Lin Kuan actually personally invited a girl to be his friend. So handsome. So handsome. I'm going to faint. Why can't I be that girl? That girl is so lucky. Oh my God. I'm really going to die from how handsome he is. Indeed, Lin Kuan is the most handsome when he's making friends. That girl has a few lifetimes of good luck. She can actually become friends with Lin Kuan. The group of girls who were cheering for Lin Kuan when he was punching earlier all pretended to be infatuated with him. Lin Kuan admitted that he made friends with Yun Jian because of her good looks. But towards Yun Jian, Lin Kuan didn't have that kind of feeling. He simply felt that Yun Jian's strength was weaker than his. But he also felt that being a member of the Special Forces might be of great help to his future development. Just as Lin Kuan extended his hand towards Yun Jian narrowed her eyes. But before she could say anything, Yun Jian felt an extra hand around her waist. The next second, a large palm grabbed her waist and pulled her into a warm and comfortable embrace. "Stay away from my woman, and you can live a long life." Chapter 1640. That warm chest. Even if Yunjian didn't guess, she could guess who it was. Who else could it be other than him? As long as Yunjian was free and could come out, Ce would come to find her. To describe Ce in an unkind way, even if she hid at the ends of the earth, he would still use his super invincible nose that was 100 million times more sensitive than a dog's nose to find her. Shoo! If she told him that she dared to use the super invincible nose to describe his ability to find people, Yunjian reckoned that she wouldn't be able to get out of bed tomorrow. He would definitely love and dote on her. You are her boyfriend? Lin Kuan wasn't as ignorant as any of the boys that Yunjian had met before. Other than being arrogant, Lin Kuan was an outstanding person. Hearing Ce call Yunjian his woman, Lin Kuan immediately reacted. The man in front of him was Yunjian's boyfriend? We are already married. She is now my wife. Ce didn't care what Lin Kuan thought of Yunjian. As he spoke, he reached his slender hand into his trouser pocket. Yunjian only needed to look at Ce's hand gesture to know what Ce was going to do. He was going to take out their marriage certificate from country or again. Yunjian felt a little embarrassed to talk about Ce's strange habit. She coughed twice and reached out to grab Ce's hand, stopping Ce from taking out the marriage certificate. Ce was going to show off the marriage certificate before putting it back, but with Yunjian holding his palm and feeling the soft girlish touch, he was so mesmerized by her beauty that he forgot to reach his hand into his pocket to retrieve the marriage certificate. Hearing Ce say that Yunjian was his wife, the surrounding people were a little surprised. However, looking at Ce's handsome face, they couldn't refute him. Ce's handsomeness made everyone present speechless. Ahem. That's her boyfriend, I know. Lin Kuan coughed twice. Couples in school would sometimes use husband and wife to refer to each other. Lin Kuan didn't find it strange. I just want to be friends with her. After all, we are both outstanding talents. It's normal for talents to make friends with talents. Besides, I don't have any bad intentions. Lin Kuan thought that he was in the right as he spoke to Ce boldly. In spite of it, Ce cut Lin Kuan off halfway through. Do you think you're worthy of being friends with my woman? Befriending his Xiaojian? Ce held back his urge to shoot Lin Kuan as he hugged Yunjian's soft body and refused to let go. So soft, especially the fullness that his arm rubbed against. Just by rubbing her plump breasts with his hand, he could feel her fullness. I really want to rub it, touch it, lick it. Cough, cough. If Yunjian knew what Ce was thinking right now, she probably wouldn't allow Ce to hug her. Wow. Yunjian, you're married. Congrats, congrats, congrats. As a good friend, I'm definitely going to attend your wedding in the future. Luo Mei was surprised by Ce's words, but she chose to believe him and congratulated Yunjian right away. Luo Mei was still fiddling with the number tag on her chest with Su Mei, so she congratulated Yunjian when she heard what Ce said. Su Mei was surprised as well, but she was more mature than Luo Mei, so she did not say much. Of course, hearing that Luo Mei was going to attend her and Ce's wedding, Yunjian broke into a smile. Luo Mei lowered her head to fiddle with her number tag after she was done talking to Yunjian. Why couldn't she get it up? Nan Linlin, who was a distance away, was indignant when she saw that Yunjian had such a handsome boyfriend. Seeing that Luo Mei was close to Yunjian and was fiddling with her brooch, Nan Linlin walked over and bumped into Luo Mei hard. Ah! Luo Mei fiddled with the brooch, and it pierced into her hand. She screamed from the pain. Yunjian and Su Mei were about to make a move when they saw it. However, before Yunjian and Su Mei could do anything, Nan Linlin, who was about to enter the Taekwondo dojo, was grabbed by Emo-sun, who was standing behind Ce, stopping her from moving forward. Chapter 1641. If a person were to stand up for someone of the opposite sex whom they had never met, then this person might just be mentally unstable and suddenly wanted to avenge the other party. Emo-sun, who stood behind Ce, saw from the best position that Nan Linlin saw Luo Mei fiddling with the brooch on the number tag and purposely bumped into her, causing Luo Mei's hand to stab the brooch hard. Yunjian was Luo Mei's friend, but when Emo-sun saw this scene, he instinctively rushed forward to avenge Luo Mei. The brooch wasn't deep, but it wasn't shallow either. It was bleeding. Luo Mei gritted her teeth in pain and pulled the brooch out of her hand. Nan Linlin, who was dragged to the ground by Mo Sun, wanted to say something arrogantly, but when she saw Mo Sun's murderous gaze, she was so frightened that she quickly apologized. I am sorry. I'm sorry. Nan Linlin ran away as fast as she could after apologizing. Seeing this, Mo Sun didn't chase after her. He saw Luo Mei pull the brooch out of her hand, and it was bleeding profusely. Hence, he took out a few pieces of tissue paper from his pocket and walked over to Luo Mei's other hand that wasn't injured. He placed the tissue paper on Luo Mei's uninjured hand and turned to stand behind Ce without a word. Lubi stared blankly at the tissue paper that Mo Sun had placed on her hand. She widened her beautiful eyes and glanced at Mo Sun before lowering her head to look at the tissue paper in her hand. Thank you. Luo Mei thanked Mo Sun politely. Mo Sun didn't say anything. Mo Sun's appearance was also very outstanding. Although he wasn't as handsome as Shuang, he was still very handsome. If Shuang didn't have that terrifying scar on his neck, he would be the most handsome of the 4 leaders of an Hun group. Unfortunately, with such a long scar, Mo Sun was more handsome than Shuang even though Shuang was still handsome. The finals are starting tomorrow. How about it, young man? Do you want to have a meal together? Officer Fong walked over from the side and looked at Ce with a young man with a bright future. Look as he invited him in a friendly manner. Everyone, let's go together. I'll be the host today. Let's have a good meal at the hotel. Officer Fong called the others and said excitedly. Since Yun Jian wanted to go, Ce naturally wanted to go too. Nan Linlin's plan failed, and no one wanted to talk to Luo Mei, even Officer Fong's opinion of her. Hence, no one called her when they went to the hotel for a meal. Officer Fong ordered 3 to 4 tables of food. More than 20 people gathered together and ate with relish. Tomorrow was going to be a new battle. But before that, it was best to relax while he could. Luo Mei to see Luo Mei. Luo Berry was a little shy because Mo Sun had stood up for her just now. She didn't dare to raise her head. Yun Jian was holding a glass of Sprite and enjoying it. Delicacies were usually eaten slowly and in the most comfortable way. Only then could one understand the true essence of delicacies. Officer Fong came over with a glass of wine and toasted Ce and Mo Senator then. He walked over to Ce curiously. Seeing that Ce had not let go of Yun Jian's hand, he jokingly asked Ce in front of everyone. You 2 young people are so loving. You can't bear to let go of each other at all times. Speaking of which, how far have you 2 young people gone? Officer Fong raised his eyebrows and looked at Ce curiously. Yun Jian's hand paused when she heard this. Then Ce suddenly said, I've done everything I should and shouldn't. This short sentence made everyone's imagination run wild. Ce's level of lying had not changed at all. Yun Jian nearly spat out the Sprite in her mouth. She choked on it twice. Chapter 1642. Pfft. As soon as Ce finished speaking, Officer Fong, who was holding a glass of wine to toast Ce, didn't forget to toast the people around him. When Ce said the last sentence, Officer Fong was still holding a glass of wine to toast the people around him. At the same time, Officer Fong had already put the glass to his mouth and took a small sip of wine. The wine was still lingering in his mouth, but before he could swallow it, Ce's words had already rung out. These shocking words caused Officer Fong to spit out the wine he hadn't swallowed in time. It sprayed directly onto the face of a Special Forces soldier sitting in front of him. After Officer Fong let out a sigh of relief, his expression changed drastically. He hurriedly took out pieces of tissue paper from the dining table and apologized while wiping the face of the Special Forces soldier who had been sprayed in front of him. Sir, I'm fine. The Special Forces soldier, who had been sprayed all over, looked at Officer Fong with a fake smile and continued speaking. How could he be fine? His face was covered in the other party's saliva. Cough cough. It's my fault, it's my fault. Officer Fong forced an awkward smile and looked at the Special Forces with an apologetic expression. After wiping the Special Forces soldier's face, Officer Fong came back to his senses and saw that Ce had already let go of Yunjian's belly. Actually, Yunjian had blushed and slapped away Ce's hand, who had shamelessly lied in front of everyone. The dishes were served one after another. At this moment, Ce wasn't holding Yunjian's hand. Officer Fong was a little puzzled, but he didn't ask any further. Cough. He was afraid that he would ask something strange again. The Special Forces soldiers had all undergone a physical examination before entering the selection grounds. Professionals could tell if a woman was pregnant just by touching her belly during the physical examination. Therefore, Officer Fong wasn't afraid that Yunjian would hurt her belly and have a miscarriage during the finals. Cough cough. Ce pampered Yunjian so much. He had been holding on to Yunjian's hand ever since he entered the room. Why did he let go now? Just as Officer Fong was puzzled, Ce reached out with his slender hand. His well-defined hand held a pair of chopsticks and picked up a lobster from a plate not far away. He then placed it into his bowl. Then, he used his delicate and perfect hands to peel off the shell of the lobster. Young people these days like to eat lobsters. Lobsters live in unclean places, so it's better to eat less of them. A Special Forces soldier next to him smiled and nodded before speaking to Ce. The Special Forces soldier was in his 40s and was considered old for his age. He was also very concerned about his diet and health, so he did not mean anything else when he said that to Ce. Lobsters originally lived in dirty places such as smelly drains, so it was useless to eat too much of them. However, if one really liked to eat them, they could still eat them a few times. Young people these days don't know how to eat healthy food. They only care about tasty food. Old Chung, don't try to persuade him anymore. Young people eat well. It's best to eat and drink well first. Another Special Forces soldier, next to the kind-hearted Special Forces soldier, chimed in. Both of them were veteran officers who had been in the army for many years. They were strong and capable. As the two of them chatted, the topic of their conversation changed to something else. Ce, on the other hand, had not said a word since the beginning. His handsome face didn't look at Yunjian. Instead, his eyes were fixed on the lobster he was peeling. Everyone around them thought that Ce liked to eat lobsters. Some people liked to eat lobsters, but they were too lazy to peel them. Delicious lobsters were usually fried with oil. After peeling the lobster, one's hands would be covered in oil. It was so oily that it couldn't be washed off. Therefore, many people were too lazy to eat lobsters even if they liked them. At least, the people around them thought that Ce was hardworking. Just as Ce was peeling the lobster swiftly, and everyone thought that he was going to swallow it, Ce touched the plate of the lobster. Ce dipped the lobster meat in the bottom of the plate and fed the lobster that he had painstakingly peeled to Yunjian. Xiaojian, eat. He looked at her gently, showing a tenderness that he only showed to her. The people around them were surprised. Chapter 1643. Yunjian loved to eat prawns and lobsters. However, she rarely ate lobsters because the shell was hard to remove. This was because Xiao Yunju had once fed Yunjian the lobster he had painstakingly peeled. Yunjian pinched Xiao Yunju's tender cheeks. Ce only found out about it then. Therefore, when the dishes were served today, Ce peeled the lobsters as soon as he saw them. He peeled it very carefully, peeling off all the hard shells without leaving a single trace. If one were to ask if Ce was a very hard-working person, the answer would be no. Ce never peeled lobsters himself. In fact, he had never eaten lobsters that were fished out of smelly drains before. However, ever since he saw Yunjian eat the lobsters Xiao Yunju had peeled for her, she revealed a satisfied expression. She even pinched Xiao Yunju's cheeks. Ce was moved. In order to peel lobsters for Yunjian, he had specially researched lobsters. Therefore, Ce quickly finished peeling off the shell of the lobster and delivered it to Yunjian's mouth. Yunjian was shocked. She glanced sideways at Ce. However, as she watched Ce, she bit, chewed, and swallowed the lobster. During this process, Yunjian kept staring at Ce's face. Although she didn't express her emotions, Yunjian's heart was filled with warmth. It was as if her entire body was enveloped by something called warmth. Is it delicious? Ce's warm voice sounded. His words were filled with warmth. He looked at Yun Jian with his easygoing eyes. It was as if even the coldest snow mountain could be melted by his eyes. Yun Jian lowered her head slightly. She blushed and nodded gently. It's delicious. I really like this taste. She had never told anyone that she liked lobsters. However, Si knew about it. Yun Jian didn't know how Si knew that she liked lobsters. However, Yun Jian wasn't stupid. She thought about it carefully. When she was eating the lobsters that Xiao Yunju had peeled for her, she had pinched Xiao Yunju's cheeks with a blissful look on her face. At that time, he was there too. He must have seen it then. Yun Jian didn't expect Ce to be able to observe her in such detail. Therefore, she was touched at this moment. When she had been the king of secret agents slaying God, she had never trusted anyone easily. No one had ever observed her every move, and knew her every word and action, in order to understand her better. There had been people who had observed her every move and grasped her words and actions to the fullest extent, but they had done so in order to kill her. Someone like Ce, who only wanted to make her eat happily, had never appeared before. After feeding her the lobster, Ce peeled another one. He removed the shell of the lobster, and placed the meat into Yun Jian's bowl. Everyone at the same table could feel how much Ce doted on Yun Jian. They were speechless when they saw how much Ce spoiled Yun Jian. By the end of the meal, Yun Jian's mouth was stained with lobster oil. Yun Jian loved good food. She had been like this in her previous life. However, she had never revealed this hobby in front of outsiders. Coincidentally, Ce knew about it. When Yun Jian had finished all the lobsters, Ce wiped his perfect and slender hands with tissue paper. The two of you are so lovey-dovey. Haha, we old men can't take it anymore. When they left, the Special Forces soldiers laughed and teased Yun Jian and Ce. In the end, only Yun Jian, Ce, and a few others were left. Yun Jian caught a glimpse of Ce's hand. Because he had peeled a plate of lobsters, his perfect fingers were red from the hard shell of the lobster. However, Ce didn't say a word of dissatisfaction. Seeing this, Yun Jian's heart skipped a beat. She reached out and held Ce's large hand. Chapter 1644. Ce was sometimes funny and shameless to the extreme. Although sometimes Yun Jian was too embarrassed to say that she knew him. However, Yun Jian knew that Ce cared about her, which was why he sometimes acted so childishly. Thinking of this, Yun Jian revealed a blissful smile. To be able to meet Ce after her rebirth was her greatest happiness in every lifetime. Whether it was when she was the sorcerer goddess in her previous life, or now as Yun Jian, she wanted to be with him forever. Until death. When Yun Jian returned to the Taekwondo dojo, Ce accompanied her all the way. Yun Jian stayed in the hotel on the third floor of the Taekwondo dojo, and shared a room with Luo Mei. Su Mei and Nan Linlin shared a room. The contestants were not allowed to change their rooms, or go out to find another place to stay during the competition. So Yun Jian naturally could not go out with Ce. Therefore, Ce also booked a room on the third floor of the Taekwondo dojo, which was not far from Yun Jian's room. Of course, Mo's son did not dare to stay with Ce, so he stayed next to Ce. The night continued to spread. At 10 o'clock in the evening, there were 2 beds in their hotel room. Yun Jian slept on the one by the window, while Luo Mei slept on the one by the bathroom. Where are you going? Yun Jian sensed Luo Mei walking towards the door. In the darkness, although her eyes were closed, she suddenly opened her mouth the moment Luo Mei walked towards the door. Luo Mei originally wanted to sneak out by herself, but she did not expect to be discovered by Yun Jian. Luo Mei originally thought that Yun Jian was asleep, so her movements were light when she went out. However, Yun Jian's voice suddenly rang out, which startled Luo Mei. Ah, you scared me. You're not asleep yet. I want to take a walk on the rooftop. I can't sleep, Luo Mei said to Yun Jian after she calmed down and patted her chest in fright. After a while, Yun Jian's voice sounded faintly. After a pause, Yun Jian nodded and said, Don't go back too late. It's not safe. Yes, I was just going for a walk. I'll be back soon. Hearing that Yun Jian cared about her, Luo Mei was moved for a while, and nodded vigorously. Luo Berry was born in a wealthy family. Her family was very rich. For example, Her family was so rich that they could buy dozens of helicopters in one go. They were also the aristocratic families that people often talked about. Although Luo Mei was the eldest daughter of a wealthy family, she was usually very lonely. Her mother was a strong career woman, and her father was the chairman of a company. The two of them took turns to go on business trips, and the only one who took care of Luo Berry was the nanny at home. But as a nanny, how good could she be to a person? Lubi had been very lonely since she was young. Because of her good family background, many children were unwilling to make friends with her. Some time ago, even her best friend had left her. The reason was that her best friend's boyfriend saw that Luo Mei's family background was good, so he forced her to break up with her best friend to pursue her. Luo Mei naturally didn't agree, but after she rejected the pursuit of her best friend's ex-boyfriend, she went to find her best friend. Luo Mei still remembered that day. After she found her best friend, she tried to reach out to her best friend, but she gave her a resounding slap on the spot. In front of everyone, she called her a whore and said that she could steal other people's boyfriends just because she was rich. That was why Luo Mei came to the selection field without hesitation. She wanted to let herself forget the past that she didn't want to remember in the painful training. After hearing Yun Jian's concern, Luo Mei was very moved. At this moment, she had already left the hotel room and walked to the rooftop. The Taekwondo dojo only had 3 floors, but the rooftop was very big, and the decoration was very good. Luo Mei's heart was low, and she had already reached the top of the rooftop. Just as Luo Mei opened the door of the rooftop, she bumped into a slender figure. Chapter 1645. When Luo Berry met Emo-san, she was really shocked. She originally just wanted to go to the rooftop to relax. It was already very late, at 10 o'clock in the evening. Most of the people in the Taekwondo dojo were already asleep. Luo Berry actually felt so bad that she wanted to cry. But she was afraid that crying in the room would wake Yun Jian up, or scare Yun Jian. So she ran to the rooftop. Luo Berry's best friend had played with Luo Berry since they were young. The two of them had been friends for 11 years. In the past, Luo Berry always believed that only her best friend did not care about her outstanding family background, and played with her as usual. However, after that incident, she was completely hurt. Even though she had been in the selection field for so long, sometimes she would run out and cry when she was upset. This would make her feel that life was actually just like that, and that crying would be fine. She did not need to let anyone know that she was crying. Luo Berry did not like to be seen crying. She was like her mother. Even if she bled and broke bones in front of outsiders, she would not shed a single tear. When she walked to the rooftop just now, the door to the stairs to the rooftop was mysterious. Luo Berry did not think much and opened the door, but she saw Emo-san at a glance. When she saw Emo-san for the first time, and it was also late at night, Luo Berry was so scared that she took a step back. Her legs went soft, and she fell directly to the stairs. However, before Luo Berry fell, Emo-san reacted naturally and reached out his hand to grab Luo Berry, who was about to fall down the stairs, and pulled her to him. Emo-san was a very gentleman. He would not take this opportunity to pull Luo Berry into his arms and take advantage of her. Even if Emo-san admitted that when he first saw Luo Berry, he knew that Luo Berry's appearance was very much to his taste. Be careful. After Emo-san pulled Luo Berry, he stabilized Luo Berry on the spot. Then he said these 2 words to Luo Berry without any change in his expression. Thank you. Luo Berry was so scared that her expression changed instantly. She thought that she was going to fall. However, Emo-san held her at the same time. This was the second time he helped her. Luo Berry thanked him. You're welcome. Be careful. After Emo-san said these 2 words, his expression did not change at all. He turned around with a cold face and was about to leave. Luo Berry called out to Emo-san again. Emo-san had just gone down the first step. Thank you for what happened during the day. Luo Berry bowed to Emo-san and said, be careful in the future. If you're too naive, you'll be killed easily. Emo-san did not say anything else, but this sentence was a little cruel to Rockberry. Anyway, thank you. Lowberry nodded heavily at Emo Sr. And Luo berries. Berry heaved a sigh of relief and found a spot on the rooftop to sit down. She looked up at the twinkling stars in the sky. SSS2's AZS2. At home, she was doted on by her parents. At school, she had friends to take care of her. Everyone cared for each other. After returning home, she could only face the empty house and walk to school alone. Her best friend, whom she had played with for 11 years, scolded her for being a whore. But now that he thought about it, he felt heartache. Looking at the stars in the sky, one by one they snuggled together. The tears in Luo Berry's eyes flowed out. Fortunately, everyone was asleep at this time. Luo Berry was a strong person. She did not want to show her weakness in front of others. But in the dark she would cry. Like all young girls in their youth, she would bear her own pain alone. After crying for about 20 minutes, Luo Berry did not make any sound when she cried. When she was tired from crying, Luo Berry stood up and went back to her hotel room as usual. Suddenly, a man's voice sounded in her ear. "Stop crying." Luo Berry stood up and saw Emo-sun standing beside her. She was so scared that she took a big step back and asked on the spot, "You, why haven't you left? You, how long have you been standing here?" Luo Berry was most afraid of people seeing her weak side. So the moment she saw Emo-sun, her expression changed drastically. Chapter 1646. From the beginning, Emo-sun said simply. He had been standing beside Luo Berry since she started crying. However, Emo-sun knew how to restrain his aura, so Luo Berry didn't notice him. Then, Emo-sun handed Luo Berry a piece of tissue paper again. "Wipe yourself." Thank you." Luo Berry took the tissue paper from Emo-sun awkwardly. She saw Emo-sun turn around and leave after giving her the tissue paper. Luo Berry couldn't help but call out to him. "Can you not tell anyone about what happened just now?" She didn't want others to know about her weak side. Emo-sun's footsteps paused. After finishing his last sentence, he walked away without looking back. "I didn't see anything." Did that mean he wouldn't tell anyone? Luo Berry heard Emo-sun's words and shouted at him again. "Thank you." When Luo Berry returned to the hotel room, Yun Jian had already fallen asleep. The next morning, the Taekwondo channel's business was booming. The door was so crowded that it was impossible to enter. It was mainly because some people with big mouths spread the news that 20 Special Forces soldiers were going to have a one-on-one fight here. Countless locals came here to see the Special Forces soldiers in a one-on-one fight. Lin Kuan and his group came here early in the morning. Lin Kuan mainly felt that his strength was on par with Yun Jian's. He came here to see what kind of realm Yun Jian could reach. There are so many people. Luo Berry woke up early. Her eyes were red from crying last night, and she had already used ice water to cool them down. She was shocked by the crowd when she came out of the hotel room. Yun Jian's voice sounded indifferently. Ce and Emo-sun came over at this time. Luo Berry looked into the distance and could clearly feel Emo-sun's gaze on her from behind Ce. At first, she unconsciously turned her head to glance at the gaze that was staring at her. However, when she realized that Emo-sun was really staring at her, she was so scared that she turned her head away and didn't dare to look at him again. The first round of the preliminaries is about to begin. 006, 057, get on stage. Someone ran over from afar and shouted for Yun Jian and Su Mei to get on stage. Yun Jian glanced at Ce before walking over with Su Mei. Good luck. Luo Mei didn't participate, but when she saw that Yun Jian and Su Mei were about to leave, she waved to Yun Jian and Su Mei and made a cheering gesture. This time, the competition would be in the form of drawing lots. In the first round of the competition, there were a total of 20 people, and everyone had to draw a lot. The numbers were from 1 to 10, and each piece of white paper was marked with numbers from 1 to 10. There were a total of 20 lots. The numbers from 1 to 10 would appear twice, so there would be a total of 20 lots. In these 20 lots, 2 people would draw one. Then these 2 people would be the opponents of each other. The winner would then continue to battle the next day. and the loser would be eliminated on the spot. Yunjian drew a 6 again, while Sume drew a 9. This competition was organized according to the order. The two people who drew 1 would fight each other, and they would take turns. By the time it was Yunjian's turn, the whole place was in an uproar. Yunjian was the youngest, but everyone present had seen how arrogant Yunjian was yesterday. So they were all very excited to see Yunjian's strength. What was even more exciting was that Zhou Duanjing, who had challenged Yunjian yesterday, was the first person to go up against Yunjian. Holding the number 6, Zhou Duanjing glared at Yunjian fiercely and walked to the temporary arena where he was facing Yunjian. The arena was more than a meter above the ground. 006, looks like you're quite lucky. Wait a moment, I'll kick you out of the preliminaries. Zhou Duanjing glared at Yunjian and said fiercely. Yunjian didn't reply to Zhou Duanjing. At this moment, everyone around looked at the scene in front of them excitedly. It wasn't until Officer Fong solemnly announced the start of the battle that Zhou Duanjing shouted and pounced on Yunjian. He wanted to kick Yunjian out of the arena with 1 punch. Yunjian didn't move. Is she scared out of her wits? Someone asked in surprise. Get out of the preliminaries. Zhou Duanjing had already come to Yunjian's side. However, just as Zhou Duanjing's fist was about to reach Yunjian, Yunjian just tilted her body sideways and dodged Zhou Duanjing's punch. In a second, she flashed behind Zhou Duanjing, stood behind him, and kicked Zhou Duanjing off the stage, ending the competition. It was so fast that the naked eye couldn't see when Yunjian came behind Zhou Duanjing. It was really just a second. Yunjian won this battle in a second. At this moment, everyone's eyes widened, and their faces changed rapidly. How did Yunjian win just like that? Officer Fong had just announced the start of the competition? How did it end? Didn't it just start? Some people were so scared that they didn't even have time to react. How did it end just as it started? Yunjian really won so easily? The competition hadn't even started yet. Chapter 1647. It was really 1 second. Yunjian kicked Zhou Duanjing off the stage in 1 second, and at the same time ended Zhou Duanjing's delusional thoughts of representing Z country to the hunting organization. If it wasn't for Zhou Duanjing's arrogance, Yunjian wouldn't have let him off the stage in such a pathetic state. It was because of Zhou Duanjing's arrogance that Yunjian directly finished him off, causing Zhou Duanjing to lose face for the rest of his life. Being kicked off the stage in 1 second by a teenage girl, Zhou Duanjing couldn't care less about the pain. He scrambled up from the ground, but he didn't have the face to stay there anymore, so he turned and ran away. There was a dead silence in the surroundings. Everyone was waiting to see the battle between Yunjian and Zhou Duanjing. However, this battle had ended before it even started. The final result was Yunjian's instant victory. Instant victory over a male Special Forces soldier, who was ranked within the top 20 in the country. Yunjian's ability was beyond everyone's expectations. It was something that they had never expected. Hence Lin Kuan, who saw this scene, sat up straight. His eyes were wide open, as if he had seen a ghost. Originally, Lin Kuan had vowed to Yunjian that he wanted to be friends with Yunjian, because he thought that his ability was only higher than Yunjian's. However, at that moment, Lin Kuan felt Zhou Duanjing's power. More specifically, he felt Yunjian's ability. Just now, when Zhou Duanjing threw a punch at Yunjian, if it was Lin Kuan, he probably wouldn't even have the ability to withstand that punch. In spite of it, Yunjian had dodged Zhou Duanjing's punch. That wasn't all. She actually went from Zhou Duanjing's front to Zhou Duanjing's back in just a second and kicked Zhou Duanjing off the stage. Lin Kuan's shock couldn't be described with words. In comparison, the few Special Forces soldiers who were in Zhou Duanjing's group didn't look too good. After the silence in the crowd, a huge wave of applause erupted for Yunjian. Good, good, good. Too amazing. This is an instant victory. This little girl has a bright future ahead of her. Based on this strength, I reckon there's hope for him to enter the top 3. The public who had ridiculed Yunjian for not being able to win immediately turned to Yunjian's side. Now all that was left was their high praise and confidence for Yunjian. Su Mei and Luo Berry stood in the distance. Because Sume had drawn the number 9, she was not in a hurry to go on stage. Ah, 006 is too awesome. 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 Luo Mei was standing beside Sume. When she saw that Yun Jian had accepted the challenge, she was more excited than anyone else. She looked at Yun Jian, who was standing in the arena, and reached out to touch Sume's arm. Sister Jiang, she won. I knew she would win. Luo Mei said as she shook Sume's hand. She was so excited that she almost jumped up. Cough, cough. A muffled cough came from the side. It was a magnetic male voice. Luo Berry held her hand, and had just recovered from her excitement. She raised her head and looked to the right, only to see Mo Sen's handsome side profile. Ah, where's Sister Jiang? Luo Berry suddenly realized that she was holding Mo Sen's hand. She was so shocked that she quickly let go and asked, I'm here. Sume was standing beside Luo Berry just now, but she had walked away. When she saw that Luo Berry had held the wrong person, Sume said awkwardly. Luo Berry's face suddenly turned as red as an apple. Yun Jian stood in the arena. Just as she was about to leave the arena, she saw Ce, who was standing below the arena, jump onto the arena with one leg. He held Yun Jian's hand and walked down. The arena was open to the audience. Hence, the scene of Ce holding Yun Jian's hand and leaving the arena was exposed to the audience. Ce seemed to be holding Yun Jian's hand and walking down the arena after declaring his sovereignty. In addition to Ce's unbelievably handsome looks, Yun Jian's pretty face was a perfect match for him. The degree of compatibility between the two of them made the audience below scream. Oh my God, there are actually two people who are so compatible in this world. They are so loving. Chapter 1648. Ce was completely oblivious to the cheers and screams of the crowd below as he grabbed Yun Jian's hand and walked down the ring. Ce was currently wearing a black leather jacket with a simple white casual shirt underneath and a pair of black jeans. From the back, Ce was dressed in black from head to toe. His short hair was very eye-catching. Standing at 1.85 meters tall, he looked like a movie star from the back. He was so handsome that even if he tried to hide his brilliance, it could not hide his dashing side. Yun Jian was wearing an extremely loose sportswear that matched her upper body and lower body in black and white. Coupled with her high ponytail and extremely slim figure, Ce could not help but feel a sense of relief. Ce held Yun Jian's hand as they walked forward. Looking at them from the back, their compatibility could be felt just by looking at them. What was more, Ce's swift movement when he leaped into the ring and his indulgent gaze that only had Yun Jian in his eyes. Just now, Ce had grabbed Yun Jian's hand and walked out of the ring. It was only a split second, but it had the audience's eyes popping out of their sockets. Words like handsome man and beautiful woman were no longer enough to describe how compatible Yun Jian and Ce were. Young master. Mo's son lowered his head at Ce when he saw Ce coming over. Go back first. Ce did not look at Mo's senator. He held Yun Jian's hand and walked around Mo's son and the others to leave, leaving Mo's son with these words before he left. An Hun group was busy, especially Ce, who was the leader of an Hun. He was busier than anyone else. In spite of it, Ce would not leave for the next few days. He had to accompany Yun Jian to get a spot in the hunting school and watch Yun Jian win. There was nothing more important than his woman. Xiao Jian was more precious to him than anything else. She was one of a kind. He asked Mo's son to go back first, because he wanted Mo's son to go back to an Hun to deal with the organization's affairs. Yes, Mo's son responded to Ce's order, without any change in his expression. At this moment, Ce had already pulled Yun Jian's hand and left the Taekwondo dojo. After listening to Ce's order, Mo's son sent a message to the helicopter pilot who had sent him and Ce here, before walking out of the Taekwondo dojo. The live broadcast was still ongoing. The audience was still watching the one-on-one battle between the Special Forces soldiers. Other than Yun Jian, there was no one else who could defeat the opponent within a second. Most of the Special Forces needed about half an hour to determine the winner. There were some who were more outstanding, but compared to Yun Jian, they were not worth mentioning. Seeing that Mo's son was about to leave, Barry opened her mouth and shouted, You're leaving? In such a noisy taekwondo dojo, Emo-san heard Rockberry shout immediately. Luo Berry's appearance suited Emo-sen's taste very well, and her voice was very recognizable to Emo-senator, even if he didn't deliberately listen to her. He could still hear her voice in such a noisy scene. Yes, Emo-san was a man of few words. Then you won't appear again? Luo Mei was confused and felt a sense of loss. Yes, Emo-san still answered with one word. When Luo Berry heard this, she was disappointed. However, the two of them had never interacted before. This meeting was just a coincidence. Whether they would meet again in the future would depend on fate. Oh, be careful then. Luo Berry said to Emo-san dejectedly. Anyone would be able to sense the sense of loss that he was feeling. Be careful? Worried about him? Emo-san's footsteps paused slightly. He paused for a moment before leaving. Then, he softly left behind an before walking away without looking back. Emo-san was different from Adam. Although Emo-san and Adam were biological brothers, Adam would do anything to keep the things he liked. However, Emo-san was different. Emo-san was not good with words when it came to the things he liked. At least, that was what Emo-san thought before this. His and Adam's lives were given by the young master, so their lives belonged to the young master. People had to learn to be grateful, and Emo-san was the same. Looking at Emo-san's slender figure, Luo Berry's eyes darkened, and she didn't look anymore. The Taekwondo dojo was still going on with the competition. Ce brought Yunjian directly to a sea of flowers. There was no end in sight, and there was some natural beauty. Trees, mountains, rivers, everything was natural scenery, and nothing could be more beautiful. When Ce brought Yunjian here, Yunjian saw hot air balloons one after another not far away. She was slightly stunned. However, she heard Ce's magnetic male voice, and his breath sprayed on her head. Do you like it? Chapter 1649. This was a sea of flowers, and the surroundings were colorful. It was so beautiful that it was like a paradise on earth, with a kind of natural beauty. Ce held Yunjian's hand as they slowly walked over. Yunjian looked around before looking up at Ce. Where are we? We can travel all over the place in the hot air balloon. Do you like the beautiful scenery we found yesterday? Ce asked again. As he spoke, he had already wrapped his slender arm around Yunjian's waist. He lowered his head and looked at Yunjian, as though he was asking for Yunjian's opinion. Seeing Ce's expectant expression, she wanted to write, Hurry up and praise me. Hurry up and praise me. On Yunjian's face, it was an innocent smile. She nodded at Ce. Yeah, I like it a lot. Hearing that she liked it, Ce broke into a smile. He held Yunjian's hand and walked over to the uncle, who was releasing the hot air balloon. This area of hot air balloons had been built by the uncle in front of them, and a few investors who had partnered with him. There were many hot air balloons floating in the sky. There were many couples around, and it was very crowded. The hot air balloon here was not the kind of hot air balloon that had a fixed location. It would float the tourists across the endless sea of flowers and slowly land on the opposite side of the river. Although it looked exciting, it was very safe. Hence, there were many tourists coming and going, and many people riding the hot air balloons. In the blink of an eye, there were only 1 or 2 free hot air balloons left. Don't rush, don't rush. Everyone don't rush. Take your time. We've already contacted the warehouse to deliver the hot air balloons to everyone. Come one by one, don't rush. The owner of the hot air balloon, the uncle, was waving his hand to signal the passengers to not rush, and that the hot air balloons would be delivered from the warehouse soon. In reality, the weather had been good, and the sun was shining brightly over the past few days, so there were many people riding the hot air balloons. As a result, there were not enough hot air balloons. There were many people lining up for the hot air balloon. Ce held Yunjian's hand as they lined up, enjoying the feeling of lining up. He did not use any of his identities to drive away the surrounding people, nor did he directly contract the venue. Instead, he held Yunjian's hand and lined up like an ordinary couple, waiting in line to sit in the hot air balloon. The queue lasted for an entire afternoon. By the time it was Yunjian and Ce's turn to ride the hot air balloon, It was already evening. Come, 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 it's your turn to be a couple. Come up quickly. The old man waved at Yunjian and Ce. They're husband and wife. Ce corrected the old man as he waved his hand. Ahem. So young. So they were husband and wife. This little girl is so young. But she has a husband who dotes on her. This way. Just step on it. When the old man heard Ce's words, he flashed his big yellow teeth and smiled. Then, he gestured for Yunjian and Ce to board the hot air balloon. The hot air balloon's temperature was controlled very well. Therefore, only a young couple usually sat in the hot air balloon. Because there were handles on the hot air balloon, if one wanted to land, they just had to pull the handle off. When Ce and Yunjian boarded the hot air balloon, the old man stuck his head out and smiled at Yunjian. Then, he said to Ce with a sneaky look, Young man, when you're at the highest point of the hot air balloon, give your wife a kiss, and I promise you'll be together for a long time. Let's go. After the old man finished his last sentence, he released the string tied to the hot air balloon. The hot air balloon immediately floated up from the ground and ascended into the sky. Chapter 1650. Yunjian heard what the old man said to Ce, but she didn't take it seriously. This old man actually wanted Ce to kiss her when the hot air balloon was at its highest point. Yunjian didn't see the smile on Ce's face. She also didn't take the old man's words to heart. Instead, she placed her hands on the railing of the hot air balloon. She wasn't afraid that she would fall if she stayed close to the railing. Yunjian stood at the edge of the railing. The wind whistled past, blowing her long straight ponytail. Yunjian stood against the wind. The wind was too strong. She squinted her eyes slightly and enjoyed the coolness of standing on the hot air balloon. Ce stood beside Yunjian. He leaned against the railing with his back facing Yunjian. He sized her up with his sharp eyes and stared fixedly at her. The hot air balloon was still on the verge of falling as it ascended, but Yunjian and Ce weren't afraid at all. Ah, it's so scary. I want to go down. I want to go down. Would he fall? It's too scary. I don't want to stay on the hot air balloon anymore. There were 3 or 4 people standing on the hot air balloon next to them. They stood side by side with Yunjian and Ce for a while. A woman on the hot air balloon was hiding in the basket of the hot air balloon. She didn't even dare to move. She looked as if she was afraid that the hot air balloon she was sitting on would fall. No matter how the people around her pulled and pulled, the woman acted as if she was about to fall and die. She was so scared that her eyes kept rolling back. Look at the couple next door. They aren't scared at all. Why are you so scared? You're even making a fuss. Don't you feel embarrassed? On the hot air balloon next to Yunjian's, a man was lecturing the woman, who was so scared that her eyes were rolling back. However, the woman squatted down and hugged the basket of the hot air balloon. The hot air balloon flew high, and it did not have a rocket launcher like an airplane, nor was it like a Ferris wheel. At least, there was a pillar that was close to the ground to support the entire set. Sitting in a hot air balloon gave people the feeling that they were floating in the air, which made them feel extremely insecure. Not long after, the hot air balloon that was flying alongside Yunjian and Ce chose to descend. It was probably not going to play anymore. On the other hand, Yunjian and Ce's hot air balloon gradually rose higher and higher, until the people standing on the ground felt as if they were about to fly into the clouds. The heat of the hot air balloon only lasted for a short while. It rose to its highest point, and then began to gradually decrease. Ce sized up Yunjian. This made Yunjian shy for a moment. Why do you keep looking at me? There was no one here, but it had risen to the highest point. Yunjian was a little shy as Ce kept staring at her. Ce had always been a person who was not good with words. He was not good with sweet nothings, and did not know how to do romantic things. It was rare for him to be romantic today. Just as Yunjian lowered her head, feeling shy from Ce's stare, Ce suddenly said, "Xiaojian, I love you." She was shocked by Ce's words. He had barely mentioned words like and love in the past, let alone saying, "I love you" in a situation like this. The hot air balloon was already at maximum power and hovered at the highest point, where the clouds could be seen just by looking up. Before Yunjian could react, Ce suddenly placed his hand on the railing of the hot air balloon and tugged at the rope that was tied to the basket, purposely creating a bump for the basket without letting Yunjian notice. Yunjian lost her footing and fell straight into Ce's arms. Ce caught Yunjian's body and lowered his head, bending slightly to press his lips against Yunjian's soft ones, biting away the petals of Yunjian's lips intimately. Yunjian did not react in time and was kissed head-on. Blinking, her long lashes fluttered, but she did not reject Ce's kiss. Chapter 1651. They were in the sky. How dare he? Yunjian slapped Ce's pig-trotter hand away. She pressed her hand against the spot in front of her chest and Ce's chest. Xiaojian, let me touch. Ce released Yunjian's lips playfully and made a shameless request to Yunjian. Don't. Yunjian refused. In the end, she could not win against Ce. In the end, Ce reached his hand into her bra through her skin. After getting off the hot air balloon, Yunjian ignored Ce and walked forward alone. He had actually acted so bashfully in front of her on the hot air balloon just now. Yunjian did not want to talk about his bashful behavior anymore. Xiaojian, what's wrong? Ce came over to hold Yunjian's hand as usual and turned to ask her. Yunjian did not fling Ce's hand away, but she ignored him. Did I touch you just now? Before Ce could finish, Yunjian tiptoed to cover Ce's mouth. Talk again, and you're not allowed to do this in the future, Yunjian told Ce. To Ce, her words sounded coquettish, causing Ce's lips to curl into a pretty smile. Did she mean that he could still treat her like this in the future? Seeing Yunjian fling his hand away softly and walking away, Ce's lips curled up before he chased after Yunjian. Every Special Forces soldier was only allowed to fight once a day. A total of 10 Special Forces soldiers were eliminated in today's one-on-one battle. Among the candidates recommended by Principal Ma, other than Yunjian, only Su Mei was not eliminated. The rest, be it Su Wenming, Wang Buren, or Dong Xiu, were eliminated. The next day's battle was a 5 versus 5 battle. Yunjian did not perform outstandingly on the second day, but after a few minutes of sparring, she kicked her opponent out of the ring and declared her victory. On the third day, there were only 5 people left. These 5 people were Yunjian, Su Mei, Wu Ningnai, and 2 other men whose names were unknown. 2 women made it to the final round of this year's qualifier. This made the audience a little surprised. After all, it was always the men who made it to the end in the previous qualifiers. Women were weaker than men, so the chances of them making it to the final round were slim. But this year, there were actually 2 women who made it to the final round, which made the people present doubt again. Could Yunjian and Su Mei really make it to the top 3? In the last round of the competition, there were a total of 5 people. The 5 of them would take turns to fight. This meant that Yunjian would have to fight the remaining 4 people who made it to the last 4 rounds. Everyone had to fight 4 rounds. After the 4 rounds, whoever won the most rounds would be the winner. This meant that Yunjian would have to fight Su Mei. 006, use all your strength to fight me. I won't let you win. Of course, don't let me win. Su Mei was full of fighting spirit. She smiled and said to Yunjian, Definitely. Yunjian pursed her lips and turned her head back to her. Naturally, she would not let Su Mei win. At this moment, the final battle was about to begin. Yunjian's first opponent was Wu Ningnai. At this moment, Wu Ningnai stared at Yunjian with hatred. You made my brother look bad. Today, I will let you know what the gap in strength is. Zhou Duan, who was kicked off the stage by Yunjian, was Wu Ningnai's brother. At this moment, Wu Ningnai was very confident in himself. Yunjian narrowed her eyes. Just as she was about to say something, bang! There was a loud noise. In the ring, a white smoke bomb was suddenly thrown up and exploded in the ring. Then the surroundings were filled with smoke. Oh hee hee hee! A snake-like female voice was heard. The crowd saw a woman with a perfect body standing before them. She was 1.7 meters tall and had a voluptuous figure. The woman who suddenly appeared held a whip in her hand. After laughing, She used the whip to whip Wu Nungnai and threw him off the stage. Then the woman met Yun Jian's eyes. In front of Zhou Duanjing, Chief Fang, Nan Linlin, Lin Kuan, and the rest, she mocked Yun Jian. Slaying God, the #1 secret agent on the international secret agent ranking, is actually fighting with this bunch of trash. If this gets out, people will laugh themselves to death. The #1 secret agent on the international secret agent ranking, slaying God? Yun Jian? Everyone's expression changed when they heard the woman's words. They thought that Yun Jian would deny it. However, the moment Yun Jian saw the woman in the ring, she narrowed her eyes and smirked slightly. She did not need to guess to identify the woman. Chapter 1652. When this voluptuous woman appeared out of nowhere and pointed out that Yun Jian was slaying God, the king of secret agents on the international secret agent leaderboard, no one could react in time. They were all stunned on the spot. Slaying God, the #1 secret agent on the international secret agent leaderboard? To some people, this title was something that they would never be able to touch in their lifetime. This was the kind of gap that an ordinary person would never be able to come into contact with a national leader. To the crowd, it was impossible for Slaying God, the #1 secret agent on the international secret agent leaderboard, to appear here. She was someone on the secret agent leaderboard. She was someone who could kill. Therefore, when the crowd heard Lung Mei's words, they were all stunned for a moment. However, before the crowd could react, Yun Jian had already met Lung Mei's eyes and pointed out her identity in front of the crowd. This caused the crowd, who had yet to recover from their shock, to be fiercely shocked once again. Blood doll. 006. The blood doll that you're talking about, could it be the latest assassin organization in Southeast Asia? It's said that it rose at lightning speed and swept through all the assassin organizations in Southeast Asia. In the end, it became the #1 assassin organization in Southeast Asia. Its position is feared internationally. Chief Fang stood next to the ring. Lung Mei had thrown a smoke grenade without any warning. His field of vision was obscured by the smoke grenade. When his field of vision returned to normal, Chief Fang saw the voluptuous Lung Mei standing in the ring. She was dressed a little skimpily, but her private parts were completely covered. Based on what Yun Jian had said earlier, the woman who suddenly appeared in front of everyone was the #1 expert under the Blood Doll leader, Lung Mei. Rumor had it that the #1 expert under the Blood Doll leader, Lung Mei, was an expert in using a whip. Her whip was accurate, and she only needed one whip to kill someone. Her ability was amazing. Even if she was not on the international secret agent or assassin leaderboard, her skills were almost on par with them. To be honest, when Lung Mei said that Yun Jian was the #1 secret agent on the international secret agent leaderboard, slaying God, not many believed her, especially Chief Fang and the others. After all, Yun Jian's age was obvious, and she was Officer Ji's daughter. How could she be slaying God, the top secret agent in the world? But just by looking at her cold demeanor, the way she appeared, and the way she whipped Wu Nungnai off the stage, her swift and fierce skills, the identity of Lung Mei, the #1 expert under the Blood Doll's leader, was a given. Yun Jian didn't answer Officer Fang's question. When Lung Mei heard Chief Fang call Yun Jian 006, he was first stunned. Then he laughed and continued to speak to Yun Jian. 006. Slaying God. This is the same serial number as when you first joined in Hun. Lung Mei clearly knew everything about Yun Jian. Hearing Chief Fang call Yun Jian 006, Lung Mei took the opportunity to ask questions. After the surrounding people knew Lung Mei's identity, they were all scared witless. Just when the crowd thought that Yun Jian would back off, Lung Mei didn't say anything. Unexpectedly, Yun Jian ignored Lung Mei's words. She lowered her gaze slightly and looked up at Lung Mei with her piercing gaze. Her smile was blurry, as if her every frown was laced with murderous intent. With a faint smirk, Yun Jian suddenly opened and closed her hand in front of the audience, including Lin Kuan, Zhou Duanjing, Nan Linlin, and the rest. A butterfly knife suddenly appeared in her hand. Yun Jian took 2 steps toward Lung Mei. At that moment, She looked like a demon from hell in front of the crowd. She smiled at Lung Mei indifferently. Chapter 1653. Yun Jian's words were clearly heard by all the spectators in the Taekwondo dojo. Everyone was shocked by Yun Jian's words and her confident aura. 006. You're crazy. How dare you talk to Lung Mei, the top fighter under the Blood Doll leader? Come back. We have to fight side by side. Officer Feng's face changed when he heard what Yun Jian said to Lung Mei. Was Yun Jian crazy? How dare she talk to Lung Mei like that? Lung Mei was the top fighter under the Blood Doll leader. Even if they had more than 20 special forces, they would have to think twice before dealing with her, right? But what about Yun Jian? How dare she say to Lung Mei, Blood Doll, including you, will become my captive so blatantly? Was she crazy? 006 is crazy. She must be crazy. Not only will she be finished by saying such things, but she will also get everyone here killed. Zhou Duanjing was already holding a grudge against Yun Jian because she was disqualified in the preliminaries. Now that he heard Yun Jian's words, Zhou Duanjing took the opportunity to speak to the people around him in an extremely exaggerated tone. Everyone around the Taekwondo dojo panicked when Zhou Duanjing shouted. They all thought that Yun Jian would get herself killed by saying such things to Lung Mei. She's crazy. She provoked the Blood Doll organization in Southeast Asia. That's fine. But she wants to drag us down with her. We're ordinary people. If she wants to die, then she can die by herself. Why should she drag us down with her? With Zhou Duanjing's shout just now, the people around them cursed Yun Jian, who was on the stage. Everyone thought that Yun Jian's behavior just now would harm everyone. Get out! Get out! What 006? Get out! Selfishness! Shameless! We don't need special forces like you in our country. There were even people who cursed at Yun Jian, who was standing in the ring with chilling words. Although Yun Jian's words were arrogant, Lung Mei didn't dare to take Yun Jian's words as a joke. What a joke! She was not dumb enough to think that Yun Jian was joking when she heard slaying God's words. However, Lung Mei was stunned at this moment. She was stunned by the audience who were desperately shouting for Yun Jian to get out of the arena. However, Lung Mei only smiled coldly for a while, as if mocking the ignorant audience below. This group of selfish humans. Bang bang bang. At this moment, 3 gunshots rang out and hit the high ceiling of the Taekwondo dojo without warning. The gunshot rang out and the gun fell. When everyone reacted, they were so scared that they screamed, "Ah! Ah! Ah! Gun! You have a gun!" Before the exclamation could be heard, the crowd had already rushed out of the Taekwondo hall. However, before anyone could rush out of the Taekwondo dojo, the gunshot rang out again. This time, it landed at the entrance of the Taekwondo dojo. As the crowd passed by, they saw Ce standing at the same spot. His slender fingers were on the gun's buckle, preventing anyone from leaving the Taekwondo dojo until the screaming crowd quietened down. His cold voice was heard and his tone was even more arrogant than Yun Jian's. If you say anything bad about my woman again, don't even think about leaving this place unless you're a corpse. How could he make it sound so easy to kill someone? Moreover, the people around had only said something bad about Yun Jian, and he wanted to kill someone because of it. The crowd was frightened by Ce's cold and sharp gaze. They saw Ce sweeping his gun around. His cold gaze made everyone's hearts pound in fear. At this moment, Ce's voice was heard again. If anyone says anything bad about my woman again, this will be your outcome. After that, Ce turned his gun sideways. Without even looking, he aimed the gun's muzzle at the chain hanging from the ceiling and fired a shot. The gunshot rang out and the gun fell. On the ceiling, the shot was so accurate that it broke the chain hanging from the ceiling. I don't want to lose miserably. That would be too embarrassing. I'm the #1 expert of the Blood Doll. I'm just here to deliver a letter today. Lung Mei knew her limits. She did not think that she could defeat Yun Jian. After all, the difference in their abilities was obvious. Here, this is a letter that our Blood Doll leader asked me to pass to you. Lung Mei took out a letter from her ample bra. She held the letter between her right index and middle finger, and threw it toward Yunjian. The letter flew into Yunjian's hand. Yunjian narrowed her eyes and caught the letter that Lung Mei had thrown at her. Officer Fang, Zhou Duanjing, Nan Linlin, and the audience below were dumbfounded when they heard Lung Mei's words. The number one expert of the blood doll, Lung Mei, said that she can't beat her? Is this real or fake? Chapter 1655. Just as everyone was wondering if Lung Mei was telling the truth, Lung Mei waved at Yunjian and said, "All right, I'm done here. All right, now that I've completed the mission my leader gave me, I'm going home for my beauty sleep. Slaying God, see you next time." Lung Mei flicked the whip in her hand as she spoke. She turned to her side and extended her hand. A smoke grenade appeared in her hand, and she waved it at Yunjian and the rest. After showing off the smoke grenade, Lung Mei put it to her red lips. She bit the handle of the smoke grenade with her pearly white teeth, and tossed it on the ground after biting it open. She was prepared to leave the place in a few seconds. At the same time, Lung Mei said, "Let's go, Slaying God. We'll meet again." A huge cloud of white smoke floated in the air. Yunjian's eyes flickered in the smoke. Phew, we're safe. Thank goodness that Blood Doll's number one expert isn't here to kill. Someone in the crowd exclaimed in relief when they were on the brink of death. Chief Fang and all the special forces present heaved a sigh of relief. Thank goodness that Lung Mei was only here to deliver a letter. Otherwise, there would have been casualties if they fought her. Just as everyone heaved a sigh of relief, the smoke from the white smoke grenade dissipated. Before the crowd could relax from their tense emotions, they saw Yunjian holding a woman's arm with one hand in the ring. She had easily pinned the woman's bent body under her. Upon closer inspection, this woman, was she not Lung Mei who had said she was leaving? Why was she being pinned down by Yunjian? She was being pinned down by Yunjian. The crowd reacted abruptly, and their expressions changed again. This time, they were not shocked because Lung Mei, the Blood Doll's number one expert, was still around. Instead, they were shocked because Yunjian had really pinned Lung Mei down. Was what Lung Mei had said true? Could she not defeat Yunjian? Moreover, if she were to fight with Yunjian, she might even be defeated? Ouch, ouch, be gentle. I'm in pain from being pinned down by you. Lung Mei did not panic even though she was being pinned down by Yunjian. She relaxed her arms since she was pinned down by Yunjian. She could not move her arms, and could only move them slightly. No, Slaying God. Didn't I tell you that I'm here to deliver a letter, not to fight you? I don't dare fight you. Just let me go, will you? Madam, I'll admit defeat, okay? If Lung Mei knew that she had been captured by Yunjian, she would not have come even if the leader had offered her 100 million USD. Moreover, it was only a mere 5 million USD salary. Where's Blood Doll's headquarters? Yunjian asked faintly, suppressing Lung Mei. I can't say that. Lung Mei shook his head and shrugged. Then you'll stay here and be my prisoner. Yunjian pinned Lung Mei down, not giving her a chance to stand up and fight back. Yunjian and Lung Mei's conversation baffled the onlookers below them. What was going on? Why was Yunjian asking about Blood Doll's headquarters? Did she really think that she was Slaying God, the number one expert on the international secret agent ranking? Even if Lung Mei said so, how was that possible? So what if she had pinned Lung Mei down? It did not mean that she was Slaying God, the number one expert on the international secret agent ranking. Just as the audience refused to believe it, two silhouettes flashed through the entrance. The two beautiful silhouettes appeared in the ring in a flash. Looking closely, it was Qing Yu and Gu Nianji. When the audience saw Qing Yu and Gu Nianji, they were shocked. Who were these two people? Chapter 1656. Calling Yunjian Sister Jian? Everyone present was slightly surprised. These two young girls were calling Yunjian's sister Jian. Who were the two of them? After Qing Yu and Gu Nianji shouted at Yunjian, Qing Yu explained to Yunjian, Sister Jian, we've chased Lung Mei all the way here but she tricked us and even made us cough. So hand her over to us. I'll write my name Qing Yu backwards if I don't get back at her for tricking us. As she spoke, Qing Yu clasped her hands together, her knuckles cracking loudly. Yunjian knew that Qing Yu and Gu Nianji must have fought with Leng Mei once she heard what she said. Yes, yes. She tricked us into the pigsty just now. Both of us jumped into the pigsty, and were almost suffocated to death. I'm so pissed. Sister Jian, you must hand Leng Mei over to us. Gu Nianji, the useless teammate, blurted out how she and Qing Yu were lured into the pigsty by Leng Mei in front of everyone. Qing Yu sighed with a hand on her forehead when she heard that. Don't, it's not that serious. Both of you jumped into the pigsty yourself, don't blame me. Leng Mei snickered and coughed dryly before speaking to Qing Yu and Gu Nianji. Gu Nianji went over and knocked on Leng Mei's head. Then, Leng Mei was dragged away by Qing Yu and Gu Nianji. What happened just now? Could it be a farce? Someone below could not help asking when they saw Leng Mei being dragged away by Qing Yu and Gu Nianji. So the gun he used just now was a fake too? Someone turned to glance at CE and asked with a chuckle. It must be. Everything that happened just now was definitely just a farce. You gave me a fright for nothing. Haha. The Taekwondo dojo sure knows how to play. Someone else chimed in. The passing of words actually suppressed the atmosphere just now. Chief Fong was no fool. He knew that what happened just now could not be described as a farce. In the end, he did not say anything. The final round of the qualifiers began as usual. Yun Jian was fighting Wu Ningnai. But now that Leng Mei was dragged away by Qing Yu and Gu Nianji, the competition resumed. There was no doubt that Yun Jian had won. When Yun Jian fought with Su Mei, she didn't give in to her either. The other two men were no match for Yun Jian. Therefore, Yun Jian's first place was secure. Because there was a group of people watching below, Yun Jian's first place was naturally not fake, so everyone was convinced. In the end, other than Yun Jian, who took the first place, the second and third place went to the two male Special Forces soldiers. Su Mei and Wu Ningnai both failed. Su Mei didn't feel bad about this at all. It's already beyond my expectations that I could get to fourth place today. Yun Jian, you're amazing. Su Mei gave Yun Jian a thumbs up. The qualifiers this time came to an end. It was not even a month since the competition had ended early. The three people who were selected were the ones who would go to the hunting academy this year. Meanwhile, Chief Fong called Yun Jian to a corner and asked Yun Jian in private about what happened just now. It was just an accident. You don't have to bring it up again, Chief Fong. Yun Jian answered the question that Chief Fong wanted to know. Cough. Alright, as long as you're safe. Chief Fong did not suspect that Yun Jian was slaying God at all. He was just worried that Yun Jian was related to Blood Doll. However, after listening to Yun Jian's words, and considering Yun Jian's ability, Chief Fong did not say anything else. Yun Jian did not ask any more questions after Leng Mei was pulled away by Qing Yu and Gu Nianji. She had just bid farewell to Chief Fong, and was about to leave when she bumped into a meat wall. Yun Jian bumped into Siyi's firm chest, while Siyi extended his long arm, and pulled Yun Jian into his embrace. Even Officer Fong, who was already married and had a child, blushed slightly at this scene. Cough cough. Let's call it a day. You've won first place. Just wait for our notice. The competition is over. You can leave if you have someone to pick you up. Now that the competition was over, everyone was heading home to check on their own condition. Let's go home. Siyi's large palm held Yun Jian's small hand as he pulled Yun Jian out of the Taekwondo dojo. When Yun Jian heard Siyi say go home, a bashful image flashed across her mind for some reason. She coughed but did not let go of Siyi's hand as she followed Siyi out. Unknowingly, Siyi's large palm tightened around her small hand. He had the urge to toss her onto the bed and have her give birth to a bunch of children for him. His Xiao Jian his. He really wanted to CK her until she could not get out of bed. He believed that he would be able to do that soon. Chapter 1657. The qualifier came to an end, and the candidates were selected. Other than Yun Jian, the other two male special forces were veteran special forces above the age of 40. Their capabilities were undeniably strong. Like the previous years, other than Yun Jian, who was a freak, the other two male special forces were above the age of 40. In the past, the youngest of the top 3 candidates who could go to the hunting school was above the age of 30. After all, the older one was, the more capable one was. It was an unchanging law. Yun Jian was already considered an anomaly. Yun Jian had CE to pick her up, so she did not return to Min City with Chief Fang and the rest. The military academy was still in its school term, and the qualifier this time took about a month. It was less than a month, but it was almost time, because sending Yun Jian to the qualifier required a separate leave. Yun Jian was the only one in the entire Min City Military Academy who had applied for leave, so Yun Jian had to go to school once she returned to Min City. However, before she went to Min City, Yun Jian made a trip back to Longmin City in her home. After staying a night in Longmin City, Yun Jian returned to Min City Military Academy. Throughout the night, CE had been hugging and rubbing against her. Cough. Other than the last step, he had done everything else. Cough cough. The next morning, CE returned to an Hun group. Shuang had sent a helicopter to pick him up. Before he left, CE was still hugging Yun Jian bashfully. After CE left, Yun Jian stretched lazily and got out of bed. Packing her bag, she went to Gu Yunjian's house to have a few bites of the breakfast Qin Yuru had made. There was a bowl of porridge, a tea egg, and 2 meat buns. Yun Jian loved the taste of Qin Yuru's cooking, so she finished the food in no time. Eat slowly. Xiao Jian, you've lost weight again. You must eat well when you go to school. Don't get any thinner. My heart aches when I see you like this. Qin Yuru had just returned from Xinjiang town not long ago. Looking at Yun Jian's thin and frail figure, she could not help but feel sorry for Yun Jian, and kept adding more porridge for her. Qin Fangfang's situation had temporarily stabilized, but she still needed some time to deal with the divorce. These days, Qin Yuru had been by Qin Fangfang's side. Qin Fangfang's hurt heart had been greatly relieved. Mom, I've been eating well recently. After finishing the porridge, Yun Jian stood up and picked up the backpack hanging on the back of the chair. She carried it on one shoulder. Mom, I'm leaving now, Yun Jian said to Qin Yuru before taking the bus to Min City. Hey, walk slowly, Qin Yuru shouted behind Yun Jian. It was already the middle of October, and the temperature was dropping gradually. Many people still insisted on wearing short-sleeved shirts and shorts. As the temperature dropped, the sun was still scorching during the day, but when the autumn breeze came at night, one would still be wearing short-sleeved shirts and shorts. Those who could hold on were talents. It was a little chilly in the morning, but the air was fresh. Yun Jian wore a pair of shorts and a short-sleeved top. Her high ponytail made her look spirited. Seeing that her classmates had already dismissed their classes and Yun Jian had only rushed back to school the day after, classes were still going on as usual. Seeing that Yun Jian was back, Lin Wan, who had not seen Yun Jian for a month, sprung up from her seat and rushed over to hug her. Mu Ying, who was beside her, beamed at Yun Jian as well. She's back in less than a month. She must have been eliminated by the selection. Hee. But that's to be expected. Lin Shuya, who had always been at odds with Yun Jian, shrugged her shoulders and smiled coldly at Yun Jian. The girls around who were helping Lin Shuya immediately agreed. You guys. Lin Wan was about to reply for Yun Jian with a sullen face. A few excited voices came from the entrance. Yun Jian, you're back. Someone said that they saw you enter our school, but we didn't believe it. You're really back. Some of the boys and girls in Yun Jian's class were excited when they heard the excited voices ringing from the entrance. Ah, it's the members of Team Monarch. They must be here for Team Monarch's general/ing god. While the crowd was engaged in a heated discussion, the 6 of them, led by Chu Ning and Chu Xiongnan, walked in through the main entrance. How is it? Yun Jian, you must have gotten a place to go to the hunting academy, right? Hee. You won't let us down. Chu Xiongnan walked over and looked at Yun Jian with a grin. Are you guys stupid? She's back in less than a month. She must have been eliminated. Lin Shuya, who was a distance away, reminded them once again. The selection lasted for a month, and people could be eliminated at any time. Yun Jian came back so early. What else could it be other than being eliminated? Just when everyone was stunned by Lin Shuya and thought that she made sense, that Yun Jian must have returned because she had been eliminated, Yun Jian spoke up and retorted without holding back. You're right, Lin Shuya. You're right. Chapter 1658. Yun Jian's words rang out abruptly and reached the ears of every student in the class, stirring up a storm. After all, representing Z country to further their studies in a hunting school was something that every student present could only imagine. At least for now, it was something that was out of their reach. But what about Yun Jian? Did Yun Jian really get a place in such an unattainable thing? Of course, that was not the main point. The main point was that Yun Jian actually got first place. What kind of place was the selection arena? The people who went were the most famous special forces soldiers in the country. Yun Jian was still inexperienced. She was just a student from Min City's military school. Like everyone else, she was just an ordinary student. But she got first place in the selection arena? If Yun Jian barely made it into the top 20, the crowd would not be as shocked as they were now. However, the scary thing was that Yun Jian actually got first place in the selection arena? That was a lie, right? Yun Jian, don't try to lie to us. It hasn't even been a month since you went to the selection arena. You got first place. Who would believe that? It hasn't even been a month, and only those who are eliminated will be sent back. The way I see it, it's obvious that you were eliminated and sent back. You're still pretending that you got first place. Who would believe you? Lin Shuya was no fool. She could tell that Yun Jian's retort just now was an overt and covert retaliation. Moreover, it had not even been a month since Yun Jian went to the selection arena. She was sent back in less than a month. If that was not elimination, what was it? We believe in Yun Jian. She's never bothered to lie. Chu Ning stood up and patted her chest as she spoke in a reassuring tone. She won't lie. I guarantee it with my integrity. Just as Chu Ning's voice fell, Jiang Weiwei spoke up as well. Jiang Weiwei still remembered that in the beginning, she was also one of the members who went against Yun Jian. Today she was completely convinced by Yun Jian. We Team Monarch never lie, Captain Lu Shuryan said solemnly. In their hearts, Yun Jian was no different from a god. It was because of Yun Jian that Team Monarch was where they were today. When Lu Shuryan started, all 6 members of Team Monarch were fighting to pat their chests and swear that Yun Jian was telling the truth. You're just siding with your teammates. Humph. Whether or not I've been chosen, we'll know when the results are announced. Lin Shuya seemed to be angry. She gritted her teeth fiercely. Just as she finished speaking, the homeroom teacher, Teacher Chu, walked into the classroom from outside the door. The students were still in shock. It was the end of class now. Why would the class teacher come to the classroom? However, Mr. Chu looked around and set his eyes on Yun Jian. He then walked over quickly. Yun Jian, you've won first place in this selection. Our Min City Military Academy is basking in your glory. The higher-ups are praising our Min City Military Academy for producing such a talent. Principal Ma is over the moon. He's asking you to go to his office for tea. Teacher Chu spoke to Yun Jian as he walked. Principal Ma was the principal of Min City Military Academy. Yun Jian's participation in the selection was due to Principal Ma's recommendation. Teacher Chu's words were like a heavy invisible slap on Lin Shuya's face. Lin Shuya's face was as dark as steel from the heavy blow. Even when Yun Jian walked out of the classroom, Lin Shuya's face was still as dark as if she had been constipated for 365 days. The students in the class were dumbfounded. She actually made it to the preliminaries. Chapter 1659. The students in the classroom were still in shock, but Yun Jian had already gone to Principal Ma's office. After receiving Principal Ma's hospitality in his office, they could already go to the cafeteria for lunch when they came out. Yun Jian, you don't know how Lin Shuya looked like she ate shit when she heard Teacher Chu say that you got first place, ha ha ha. After you left, Lin Shuya's face was still dark, and she still hadn't recovered from the shock for a long time. Lin Wan was still talking about how Lin Shuya saw that Yun Jian really got first place, and then Yun Jian was invited to the principal's office for tea by the homeroom teacher, Teacher Chu. Lin Shuya was so shocked that her mouth was wide open, and she couldn't even make a sound, as if she had been constipated for hundreds of days. As she spoke, Lin Wan was still laughing, as if she was the one who was venting her anger. Yunjian only pursed her red lips after hearing that. This kind of small matter is not worth mentioning, Muing said with a smile, showing her big white teeth. Halfway through the meal, Chu Ning and the others brought their lunch boxes to the table next to Yunjian. Yunjian, we're going out for a walk tonight. Do you want to come along? Chu Ning winked at Yunjian and asked Yunjian, aren't we staying in school tonight? How are you going to get out? Lin Wan blinked innocently and asked. Shisho, don't be so loud. We're in school, but we can climb over the wall and get out. We'll come back when we're done playing. It's youth, we have to have some fun. Hee hee. Chu Ning dissed Lin Wan and winked at Yunjian again. I promised to treat you guys to a meal last time tonight. Yunjian held a bowl of seaweed soup, and she promised Chu Ning and the others indirectly. As soon as she finished speaking, she put the bowl of seaweed soup into her mouth. Delicious. Okay. Then Yunjian, we'll call a few buddies we just met. That's okay, right? I think we'll call a few more people, and if we get caught, we'll all be punished together, hee hee. Chu Xiangnan scratched his head and asked Yunjian in a negotiating tone. It just so happens that you've won first place. They'd love to meet you. Chu Xiangnan did not stop talking. Anything is fine, Yunjian said these two words, and continued to take a sip of the seaweed soup. Okay. Chu Xiangnan was overjoyed when he heard that. He nodded and began to finish the food in his lunchbox at lightning speed. After Chu Ning and her friends left, Lin Wan stared at Yunjian blankly. She lowered her voice and asked Yunjian in her softest voice. Yunjian, are you guys really going to skip school and go out to play? This isn't good, is it? Yunjian did not answer Lin Wan directly, and instead asked Lin Wan in return. Want to go together? Lin Wan shook her head immediately after hearing that. No, I'm not going. I'm not going either, you have fun. Muing yawned and said to Yunjian. But Yunjian, is it really okay for you to skip school like this? You were just praised today, if you get caught. Lin Wan was still worried. However, before Lin Wan could finish her sentence, Yunjian's red lips curled up. She pursed her lips, paused for 2 seconds and said youth. After that, Yunjian took the lunchbox with one hand and poured the rest of the food. Lin Wan was left behind, and she was slightly stunned, but she shook her head in the end, indicating that she did not understand. The agreed time was 10 o'clock, and after the dormitory check, they would gather at the wall of the south gate of the school. Min City Military Academy went to bed early, and the dormitory check was early as well. At around 10 o'clock, the dormitory auntie and uncle were already asleep. Even the girls in Yunjian's dormitory were half asleep. Chapter 1660. The aunties in the female dormitory and the uncles in the male dormitory had the same problem. They slept very deeply. Because of this, many students from Min City Military Academy would escape in the middle of the night to play and have supper. Moreover, most of the students in Min City Military Academy were martial artists. Other than a few girls who studied military medicine, the rest of the boys were all military academy students. Naturally, their strength was not to be underestimated. After all, they were trained in the military academy. Naturally, they wouldn't be too bad. Those who played truant would hide a little, afraid that the aunties in charge of the dormitory would still be awake and would be caught patrolling. But what about Yunjian? She walked openly to the female dormitory's entrance. But the strange thing was that Yunjian's footsteps were light. It was like a female ghost floating on the ground without making any sound. Yunjian walked without making any sound, just like a female ghost. If someone saw this scene, it would be strange if they weren't scared to death. Yunjian's dormitory building was quite high. When Yunjian reached the second floor, just as she turned the corner on the second floor, a girl secretly ran over from the other side. Because Yunjian's footsteps were light, it was as if there was no sound at all, so the girl didn't notice that someone was coming down the stairs on the third floor. When Yunjian stepped on the stairs on the second floor, the girl happened to rush over from the corner. The moment she saw Yunjian, the girl nearly shrieked when she saw her due to the darkness and the fact that she did not make any noise when she walked. In the end, She clamped her hand over her mouth to stop herself from shrieking. Yunjian immediately dodged to the side when the girl rushed over and avoided the girl's collision. But the girl was pitiful. She was so scared that her forehead hit the wall hard. She forced herself not to make a sound. It wasn't until she saw that Yunjian was a human who had played truant like her that the girl lowered her voice and shouted at Yunjian. "What are you doing? Don't you see if there's anyone here?" The girl shouted at Yunjian in a muffled voice. Yunjian blinked, but didn't pay much attention to him. Tonight's moon was especially round. The round moon shone on the earth. Over at the dormitory building, the girls could see Yunjian's face clearly. Yunjian's night vision was very good. Naturally, she could see the girl's face clearly. Just now it was the girl who rushed over. She was not wrong. So Yunjian ignored the girl and went straight downstairs. The girl didn't dare to yell loudly, so after a muffled sigh, she also sneaked downstairs. The door to the female dormitory was locked, so the dormitory manager was snoring. The girls' dormitory was surrounded by fences, and the door was locked. There was no way to get out. There were already 4 or 5 girls standing there. It could be seen that there were many people who sneaked out of the school to play in the middle of the night. "Are you here yet? Are they here yet? Did senior sister bring the key?" These girls bent over and snuck out in the middle of the night. They didn't even have the courage to stand up straight. "Not yet. I wonder what senior sister is doing. I feel that if this goes on, we'll be discovered by the dormitory manager." These girls stood at the door anxiously. Their voices were as soft as the buzzing of insects. Just as the girls said this, they saw a figure looming at the stairs. "She's here? Senior sister is here?" One of the girls said happily. However, before the girls could rejoice, they saw a person with a high ponytail walking over with a straight back. She didn't look like a truant at all. The girls were so disappointed that they were discouraged. "Why isn't senior sister here yet?" One of the girls complained softly. Just as she finished speaking, she saw Yunjian walk straight to the door. She reached out to touch the door lock. "Hey, what are you doing? Can you open the door without the key? If you open the door without the key, not only will you shake the door lock and alert the dormitory manager, you won't be able to open the door. Which class are you from? Are you stupid?" Before Yunjian could reach out to touch the door lock, a girl immediately stood up to stop her. However, before the girl could reach out to stop Yunjian inserted the thin iron wire in her hand into the door lock. She shook the door lock slightly twice. Then, Yunjian opened the door under the girl's gazes. She didn't look like a truant student at all. She straightened her back and walked out as if nothing had happened. Seeing Yunjian open the door so easily, the girls were completely dumbfounded. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.